welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I am your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 153. As always, you can give this podcast a listen on SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio apparently, Google Play, everywhere you listen to podcasts. Hopefully we're there. We should be. If not, let me know. I'll get us there. If you want to, send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Serial Sensei. And as always, of course, I'm joined with my co-host, Anticool. What's going on, man?
It's 5 degrees outside and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, fall came really abruptly. Like just a couple of days ago, I think it was 90, and then yesterday it was 40. In the morning, it was 47 degrees.
But it's gonna be 77 today and tomorrow, and then it's gonna go down to 60 for the rest of the week. So.
I was supposed to get rain for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I have to run in on Friday.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I have 2 stories, and since I want you to pick one that I can tell to our that I can share with you, and which one sounds more interesting.
All right, give me some cliffhangers.
Okay, so I think you've definitely heard of one. But we can talk a little bit about Xu Shadong, the mixed martial artist who is going around China beating up Tai Chi and Kung Fu masters. Because Vice did a nice little article about him earlier this week, and I like that. That's a very interesting discussion fraught with understanding the Chinese political climate. And of course, I would never ever recommend to anybody who listens to this podcast listen to another podcast, because why bother? This is your one-stop shop for literally everything. But I do listen to another podcast called Behind the Bastards that chronicles the worst people in human history and shares their stories with us. And I heard one that was so amazing about a con man that I have to share it with literally everyone I know.
Is the con man from our realm of the world?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all for a good con man story. I think the con man's going to win this one.
Okay. We'll save Xu Shadong for the next time the UFC goes to China or something. So, have you ever heard the name Napoleon Hill?
Yes.
He is the author of several... Well, he is considered the godfather of self-help books. Such as, and this is probably the one you know him from, Think and Grow Rich.
Yes, I've definitely heard of that.
It is a book that is still in publication to this day. It's sold something like 10 to 20 million copies around the world. If you know somebody who is into self-help and business and getting their lives together, and they read a bunch of self-help books, this is probably on one of their shelves. But turns out Napoleon Hill, one gigantic con man. It's I'm actually struggling to like where to start the story, but I'm going to start with where he got his first job, I guess. He was working for a coal mining firm, right? Um, and the owner, a rich man, was also the owner of a bank, and I believe Hill wanted to switch over. Um, so one day, a coal miner kills a black bellhop in the mine, and Napoleon Hill, who was like 17 years old at this time, proceeds to cover up the murder.
Mm.
And it ends up with him getting promoted by his boss because he saved him the trouble of having to do it, I guess. But this is where the true the true con man starts in Napoleon Hill, because what Napoleon Hill does, he takes the money he makes from this and he goes to start committing just blatant fraud, like mail fraud. He opens a lumber company, and the point of a lumber company is you buy land, you cut down the trees, and then you sell the lumber. Hill wasn't doing that. He just bought lumber from other lumber companies and proceeded to travel around like door to door vacuum salesman style, selling the lumber to whoever needed it.
Some people move work, some people move lumber. Jesus.
Eventually they catch on. This is not legal, by the way. This isn't what he took the money out for, and he eventually moves on to near your area. Actually, he moves to Washington D.C.
Mm.
And this is where the crazy shit starts happening. So he opens up the Automobile College of Washington, where he teaches the students basically how to build, chauffeur, and sell cars. So it's like a 6-week program or whatever. The students come in, they learn how to build cars, and they're ready to go work in a factory. Though I'm pretty sure if you were to apply for a job in a factory, they'd show you how your little section of like where to actually build cars.
Right.
But so Sensei, like these people are paying you to learn the skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of their 6 weeks, they have cars that they've built, right?
You would hope.
So, what do you do with the cars that your students have been building?
He sold them.
He sold them to the Carter Motor Corporation.
Oh man.
Mind you, the Carter Motor Corporation went bankrupt like 3 years into like this whole charade, probably because their cars were being built by people who had no idea what they were doing.
Oh man.
But that was probably the most legitimate of all his scams, where at least people were paying him money and they got a skill out of it. Like from there, it's all downhill, Sensei.
Mm.
Like I'm talking about, he ended up opening another school. And this one was a success school, like where they teach you the philosophy about being a successful businessman and everything like that. Turns out it was a letter mill. He had his students write letters to local newspapers, basically talking about how Napoleon Hill should run for like office.
What?
To make it seem like he had some sort of grassroots movement behind him.
So not only was this a scam, this was a cult.
Yeah, well, it's a cult that people caught on to pretty quickly. And I didn't mention the time frame for this. This is like 1910s, like right around the time of World War One. Not during the time of World War One. Mind you, we're not at war yet. We didn't jump into the war until like 1917. But they're still like the country's still weary of spies and everything like that. And it just so happens that one of the students who caught on to the fact that Napoleon Hill was, a fraud, and basically having his students pay to run a political campaign for him, was a German American student. So when the German American student brings to the attention of everybody else that Napoleon Hill is a fraud, what do you think Napoleon Hill does?
Definitely kicked him out.
Well, you see, if he had just kicked him out,
Oh, don't tell me he killed him.
no.
Okay.
So in true just dick move maneuver, Napoleon Hill alerts the authorities to this poor German American kid's political activities, which I'm not even. There's no evidence of him actually being like a spy, but the poor kid gets arrested and jailed for the duration of World War One.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Put in like a prison camp.
Yeah. I didn't mention it, but during this time, Napoleon Hill is like marrying into rich families. Like, he marries into the family, basically hits the road for like months at a time without actually ever coming home. And eventually they catch on, but like he's basically ciphering money out of these families. He's also a terrible father, which I feel like goes without saying, but one of his kids is born deaf. And Napoleon Hill, being the confident man he is, basically refuses to accept that his child was born deaf and refuses to let him learn American Sign Language. Instead, he speaks, he tries to teach him to speak by speaking directly into his neck.
What?
Yeah. So, like right below the ear into his neck, where in theory, I guess he thinks the vibrations from like his vocal cords will reach beneath his ear, because I think his belief was that his child was born with like a bone deformity that blocked off his eardrum. So if he spoke directly into like beneath the ear, like where the eardrum is, it would reach and he'd be able to learn English that way.
Ew.
Yeah, no, this man was a piece of shit.
Like, how do you just speak into your son? Son should have punched him in the throat.
By the end of Napoleon Hill's life, he was the only son who actually spoke with Napoleon Hill.
Jesus.
But like there are a million other like crazy get rich quick schemes that he did. Like he tried to sue the train company because he claimed the lights from their train were making him blind and he had to acquire glasses. One of the schools he opened in I want to say it was Illinois. He opened a school there and was trying to get investment into the school by claiming it was worth over $100,000, while the combined assets of the school were worth like $1,200, which is highly illegal. But in the effort of saving time, I'll tell you the story behind his first book, The Law of Success, which was also a bestseller.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I can't say his scams were successful, but
I mean they worked.
that's how he told people self-help. Like, listen, man, like I've been scamming my way to stay afloat for the last how many ever years he's been alive. So
The Law of Success. So you know who Andrew Carnegie is, right?
yeah.
Carnegie. I'm sorry, Carnegie. So what if I told you in 1908, Napoleon Hill met Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie informed him that all great successful businessmen have like similar qualities, and then tasked Napoleon Hill with a 20-year project where he goes around and talks to all the successful men in America to gather their secrets and write a book so that the secrets to success are accessible to everyone. But would you believe that story?
I would believe that Napoleon Hill didn't do that for 20 years. He probably talked to like 3 people.
He talked to no one.
Say he talked to himself. He looked back at at his notes from all the scams he's pulled.
Well, that story isn't true, but that's the story that Napoleon Hill told to a publisher he met at a bar in Philadelphia
Lord.
while he was hiding from his wife and banging prostitutes with her family's money. Yeah. It's really funny how that works out because it turned out the year he wrote it was in 1928, 20 years after the supposed meeting with Andrew Carnegie. But the publisher wasn't like a complete idiot. He was enthralled with Hill's story, but he took one look at Hill and was like, "Why? If you're so successful, why are you drinking in this shitty ass bar with me?" So you know what Hill does? He's married at the time to a woman whose family comes from money. So he takes out a loan from his like brother-in-law and proceeds to stay at like the nicest hotel in Philadelphia. Throws his money at like all the bellhops and stuff, so they start treating him like royalty. And basically tricks this publisher into thinking that he's an actual big shot.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It works, and he ends up selling it, and his book goes on to be a bestseller. He actually moves in with his family for a couple months before going out and like doing his thing again of just banging prostitutes as he moves from town to town, giving speeches and doing his book tour.
This is what I've been doing wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta fake it till you make it.
I gotta get the scam going.
Dude.
All right, man.
But yeah, I didn't even get to my favorite one where he was going like so he for before this he was he was basically your average town like I moved from town to town scammer who would go from town to town collecting money for a program that was supposed to reintroduce like prisoners into society once they'd done their time. It was it was give them like marketable job skills and stuff like that. There was no such project. Napoleon Hill was just pocketing the money and then just bouncing out of town when things got too hot.
Hey, I mean, yeah, you can't scam, Yeah, you got to take the scam worldwide.
Dude, this man, like I haven't gotten into everything he did, but like, good God, this man was a bullshitter of the highest quality, and people still follow his fucking advice to this day.
His self-help, he's a top 10 all-time in self-help booksellers. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think the moral of the story is
you shouldn't have any morals.
Yeah, if you ain't scamming, you ain't trying. Like, I guess I gotta learn this. So, the DTP scam coming soon.
He also claimed to have been an advisor to both Woodrow Wilson and I guess FDR during World War I and II.
If somebody believes that, then they probably deserve that. Like, some random guy just tells you I was an advisor. That gave me some ideas, though. You know what? I'm just gonna I'm gonna tell people on the street. I'm gonna go to like a local MMA event, and I'm just gonna tell everybody. Like, I'm just pull certain people aside and be like, "Listen, man, I got this show, man. We interview UFC fighters like every week. We get exclusive, information, and then me and you have to like act out episodes. Like, it's just that's what we're gonna do. We're scamming. That's the rebrand. That's the rebrand. That's the 2.0.
Just like last week on the show, you guys heard us talk to Israel Adesanya.
Neither one of us can do the impression.
No.
Next week we got Jacare. He's coming.
He'll be here.
Yeah, brush up on my Portuguese. Oh boy, scamming, man.
It is wild. I think have I mentioned on the show that I wish we could go back to a time where like there was no social media or internet, because like you could fail at one scam and then like move like 2 towns over and become like a doctor. Because like, who was gonna check you?
Well, I was gonna say that one kid still got away with it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, he had a whole practice going. That kid's a legend. I don't remember his name, but that kid is a legend. So yeah, guys, Get your scam game up.
If you're not scamming, you're not trying.
Yeah, if you don't got that scamming bestseller, then like, what do you really?
I mean, all self-help books are fucking just believe in yourself, or like basically ways to learn to manipulate people.
Just gotta breathe. Hey man, if you see it, you can achieve it. If you can scam it, it can be done. Well, there you go, guys. That's your history lesson on scamming.
I do suggest everybody go listen to the Behind the Bashers podcast, because Robert Evans, who hosts the show, is a joy. He's a conflict journalist who has experience in like Iraq and the Ukraine and like Central America, and he's a great journalist, and he gets really in depth in the show. It's really good.
And he is not a scammer.
And as far as I know, he is not a scammer. He is 100% legit.
Boy, that would suck if you got to like episode 100. He'd be like, guys. All of these stories.
I made up all these people and their Wikipedia pages. Joseph Stalin, not real.
Oh, man. That would be the greatest troll job ever. I'd be all for it. There you go. That's your scam history lesson of the week.
It's a good thing we didn't have news this week, or not a lot of news anyway, because that took up forever.
Yeah, that was your news.
That was your news. Go learn how to be successful through thinking about it. Oh, I forgot to mention, like, he's like the wealth gospel, like the Joel Osteens of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the reason for those.
Oh boy.
His books are the influence for the whole wealth gospel movement that took over in like the 1950s. So,
hey man, he scammed and still left his mark.
Exactly. And he died penniless because his last wife was a better grifter than he was. Like he was like after one of his divorces, he was doing like the college book tour thing. And like he was like, I'm looking for my dream girl. And some woman, I don't remember her name. She's the co-author of Think and Grow Rich. Was like, I'll marry you, and they got married like 3 days later. And then like after the book sales like stopped coming in, and like it seemed pretty clear that like that they were gonna like that Hill's goodwill had been run dry. She bounced with like half their shit. Not even, like, it was more than half their shit. She bounced with like most of their shit and just went on to have a successful like self-help career by herself. He was like, I don't need you anymore. Bye. Which I can't be mad at.
Hey,
neither can Hill, because he definitely had to be like, damn, that was a good one.
Should have knew the game. Got it. You can't scam for that long and not know the game. Well,
Yep.
It'd be like that sometimes. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to segue. Shout out to the listeners. There's no segue.
Speaking of people who can't seem to keep out of trouble.
There you go. Yeah, you listeners, you guys can't keep out of trouble. You were doing something nefarious before you started listening to this.
I mean, they're probably doing something nefarious while they're listening to this. Like somebody's just like committing a murder, and like, but they want these like UFC 243 hot takes.
We'll get there.
Like they're doing a drive-by, and it's just like you can hear our voices.
That would be crazy. Gunshot. Yeah, follow the Dojo Talk podcast on Twitter. Oh man! Shout outs to the listeners. Number 1 cities or top cities for the week: number 1, Southampton, New York; number 2, Vista, California; number 3, Garfield, New Jersey; number 4.
Whoa! Where really?
Yeah. Are you spreading the goodwill? Spreading the good word? Somebody's up there listening.
It scares me.
Number 4, Los Angeles, California. And number 5, Amman, Jordan. I'm saying that correct. Amman, Jordan.
I just realized that's probably just fucking me.
Hey, I'll take it. But shout out to listeners. Keep sharing, retweet, repost, tag people. Give it to the mailman, mailwoman, whoever, just tell them to listen. We appreciate it. Scam them into listening. That is going to be the running theme of this episode. You will scam them into listening.
And guys, remember we have an interview with new UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya at the end of the episode, so please listen all the way through.
There you go. So, with that being said, so I'm gonna give this quick, not a disclaimer, I don't know, quick like tidbit before we go into today's episode. So I'm using this as an excuse because I couldn't. It's not that I couldn't take notes. I got angry at my laptop this morning and my sticky note app wasn't working, so I just didn't take notes at all. But I'm gonna somehow transition and finagle this into making it make sense. I've been thinking of ways to kind of tinker with the format of the show to maybe cut down on time, make episodes a little quicker and easier to listen to. So I was thinking of maybe, if you hear shows after this one, maybe not in the same format, just trying to figure stuff out. But I might axe the whole fight announcement segment and just kind of try to get to the meat and potatoes early. Maybe unless it's like a huge fight announcement, but that section might get axed. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. Trying to figure ways to make it episodes easier to listen to. Just after 2 years, I'm just trying to figure ways to kind of just mix things up a little bit. Keep it interesting. So I have no fight announcements really to discuss, but we will still discuss news, which it hasn't been heavy on the news, but I guess the main two news stories. We'll briefly talk about Mr. McGregor because it was a thing that happened. Though it's not really a lot to talk about. We talked about it when it broke. What was this, back in April? McGregor got angry at an old man, I guess, who didn't want to drink his whiskey, punched the old man, blah, blah, blah. You saw the video. Oh, you probably saw the video. I'm pretty sure you did. But, anywho, as of that incident, he was brought up on charges of assault, and if he faces the max charge of the assault, he can get a maximum prison term of 6 months if convicted, and a fine. I love how this fine amount is really specific. A fine amount of $1,646, or he could get both. Not really much else to go into. I mean, like, if you saw the video, you saw the video. He punched the old man. The old man took it on the chin. I was kind of impressed that the old man didn't get knocked out. And so he's brought up on assault charges. That's kind of it. We'll see how sentencing goes. Not really much else to really dive into. So unless you have any thoughts on that, I can let you tell the Jon Jones.
Well, I'm good on the McGregor tip because what really is there to say? Oh my God.
Uh-oh. All right, so we have doorbells ringing.
All right. Sensei, mark the time and I'll be right back.
All right. So while the anti-cool is gone, let me I will try to find this little beef that Jon Jones and one of his former trainers, if I can find. Boom. All right. So I'm trying to get this page to load. We don't normally, There we go. So there's a gentleman named Frank Lester. Frank Lester is a former coach of Jon Jones. So this story is funny. Jones threatening to bring in the police is kind of hilarious. I clicked on the first link that I saw. So I'm getting this from a website called Grappling Insider. But it says, Frank Lester, a former coach of Jones, made a post on Instagram alleging that MMA fighter and UFC champion owes him over $13,000. I'm not going to read this Instagram post because it's actually pretty lengthy. But if you want to read it, you can. I'm pretty sure you can find it. But in the post, he stated, Jon Jones and Mike Winklejohn just did me dirtier than I've ever seen in this fight game. He went on to warn Jones to keep security close because I guess if he sees Jon Jones in the streets, then it's going to be an issue. So Lester left Jackson MMA. He is going to go on to open up his own training facility. So he listed all these allegations against Jon, and just it was a pretty nasty, pretty nasty assault on Jon. But Jones, he's definitely clapping back. So he came back on Instagram with his own allegations, which I guess have been deleted, but the internet makes things live on forever. He said, I won't even get into the fact that you were fired from the team on fight week due to drug issues. He went on to say, tomorrow I will be calling the APD, an intent to involve the Albuquerque Police Department. Like I said, Jon Jones' Instagram post has been deleted, but the internet makes things live on forever. You can go find it. It's kind of... go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm back. I won't even get into you got fired fight week because of your drug use problems. Is probably the most Jon Jones dig I've ever seen. Where he's like, I won't even mention that you got fired from the team for using drugs. Like, we don't have to put that on the public, but he does it anyway. It's just like, okay. But so the dramatic parts of it don't really interest me that much. Like, Lester is like a notorious dickhead. But the thing that does interest me is Jon Jones is like one of the most successful fighters in recent UFC history in terms of like finances. Like, McGregor and Rousey and Brock are probably the only fighters who got paid better than he has, theoretically. And there's like a multi-million-dollar business. Why are you doing like handshake deals over how much you're getting paid? You feel me?
I'm surprised it was just $13,000. Like, I thought that would be a little. I don't know. I figure if I'm working with Jon Jones, the bag would be a little more.
And then 20?
Maybe. Well, because 13, like.
Well, he got paid 7,000.
Oh, okay.
So the difference was like, oh, I was supposed to get paid 20.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes a little more sense.
But like, my thing is, why the hell are you, like? This is one of the one. I wouldn't trust Jon Jones with anything. Like Jon Jones is not like the type of person who has friends. Jon Jones has people who he hangs out with, who he finds entertaining. So like, why would I even like imagine that like he would be like he would deal with me in good faith? And that's not to say he hasn't. Like, I'm not picking a side here. Like, I'm just saying like Jon Jones is a pathological liar.
I'm assuming. Well, I don't know how it is if it's different for like other fighters or how they set everything up. So I'm assuming like they didn't sign like any like contracts.
No.
Like that's wild. Like there needs to be in paper like I'm helping you. Yeah, for X amount of time, I'm getting paid X amount.
Exactly. Like, and I get that the MMA like gym system still works on like honor and trust and family and team building and whatever and all that other bullshit, but it's a business.
Yeah, pay me my money, bro.
Dude, like, if you don't have it in writing, it's not real.
Yeah.
Like, and if he did get screwed, like I'm like, like I'm sorry for him, but like, dude, you have had this shit in writing, or else it's not there. It's not real. You can't be going on people's words, especially when that person is Jon fucking Jones.
Yeah. And I'd imagine, you know, if this even goes to court, but I don't know, he's talking about like he wants to handle it in the streets.
Right.
If this goes to court, I'm gonna bet that Jon Jones can probably afford the better lawyers than you can. So now you're gonna be out 13 grand plus your lawyer fees plus your pride plus whatever you might have lost along the way. Yeah, not a. I don't know. Well, and then he said he's going to, mention he's going to apparently open his own gym. I don't know how that's gonna work, but
Like in Albuquerque.
right.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck competing with the coach that everybody in like the world knows, and then there's your gym.
He included a whole bunch of text messages and stuff too.
Oh, are the text messages proven about about the money?
Yeah. Well, like they don't make him look good.
They don't make who look good? John or him? I imagine neither one of them really look good, but
I mean, from what I can tell, it looks like Jon is just out of his mind.
John, John don't care about that, man.
Hold up, Coach Wink, Frank. If you did 20 hours of actual work, I would be surprised. That's $350 per hour, and you're complaining. What the fuck?
He said,
There's a whole like group text thing going on.
"Oh no, the group text is always messy." Oh man.
Like for what it's worth, like Jon Jones comes off like the sensible person here. He's like, okay, like from the sound of it, of Lester wanted $1,000 an hour. Like, what the hell?
Mm-mm. Well, if this does go to court, I'm trying to see the transcript. I'm definitely down to see the transcript because, mm, 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 mm. Well, we've learned about scam artists so far, and I think the second lesson of today, in the world of business, people's words don't really mean a whole lot. Get that contract, bruh. No contract, no money, no bills get paid. I don't know. Good luck with that gym, though.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Mm. Jon Jones is like the gift that just keeps on giving.
I mean, it's the Albuquerque water, bro. Like, there's a reason it was used for for Breaking Bad.
I want to know what goes through the cop's head, who maybe doesn't even know who Jon Jones is, and he's sitting at the desk and like this 6'4" black dude is coming up to him, and he probably thinks it's for a completely different reason, but he's like, "Yo, I got to snitch on this guy." Like, this guy said he wants to see me in the streets. Can they really do anything for that though?
Well, like, what was the phrasing that he used? Well, they can alert him to the situation and just be like, this is a thing that if I go missing in the middle of the night, this might be the guy to go check.
Yeah. God. MMA, man. It's I don't even know. That's just one of those. That headline was just so random when I saw it. Like, I don't even know what to even. That sentence of Jon Jones threatened to go into the APD is just like like Jon Jones like physically could probably beat up anybody, but like when I saw that headline, I just imagined like that kid in the classroom who just snitched on everybody. Like he just tattletale everywhere. But I don't know. Maybe this is Jon. He's trying to turn a new leaf. He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to. I don't know. I don't know. It's Jon Jones. I don't know what else you want. He's getting people locked up. It is what it is. But yeah, guys, get your money in writing. Definitely do that. But I guess that's it for news. Unless you have anything else to add, if we missed anything, don't think so.
No, but just gonna throw this out there because I'm probably gonna forget when it comes time for shout outs and party shots. But yesterday was the 3rd anniversary of the passing of Josh Saman. Yeah. So yeah. This is a Josh Saman tribute episode now.
There we go. God, I did not write parting shots and shout outs down either. I'll just wing it like I do everything else. Alright. Alright. Let's get to some fights then. So, there were a lot of fisticuffs during this weekend. Had some boxing. Had a lot of MMA going on.
Oh, crap. I did forget a piece of news.
Oh, what happened?
So Claressa Shields was supposed to fight this weekend.
I saw her name pop up somewhere, and I don't. What? Yeah, I'll just let you tell it. I saw her name, but I couldn't remember what it was.
So, Claressa Shields was supposed to fight. God, I cannot remember the name of her. I can't pronounce the name of her opponent off the top of my head. I have to look at it. Claressa Shields, Habazan. Is that how you pronounce it? Habazan. She was supposed to fight. This past Friday or no Saturday. They had weigh-ins on Friday, and I guess one of Habazan's trainers, Bashir Ali, was throwing some verbal jabs at Claressa Shields' entourage, and one of Shields' coaches proceeded to sucker punch the shit out of Bashir, knocked him out for like 20 minutes. He had like blood all over his face and shit.
Jeez.
Yeah, he fell to a concrete floor. He had to have surgery on his teeth, and like his jaw was broken and shit. I'm trying to find the name of the dude who threw the punch, because do you remember Darrell?
Darrell who?
Was it Anthony or was the other one, or Andre?
The one who fought last week?
No, the one whose coach went batshit insane crazy and proceeded to jump the other fighter in the corner. It was what was it? Ukategi?
I cannot remember.
You don't remember this? We definitely talked about it. Hold up. I'm gonna look this up, but I want to say it's the same coach.
Oh, the one who he came in and almost knocked dude out. Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I do.
It was Andre Darrell's
remember.
Uncle. There we go.
Okay, yeah, I do remember. Yeah, he landed the punches he threw might have been better than the ones in the actual. He was landing some leather out there, bare knuckle, just.
But because they're all from Flint. Hold up. I want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm not just like making things up. I want to say. Well, no, it doesn't look like it. Hold up. Who is the dude? Because they don't even mention the guy's name in the article. That's the fucked up thing.
Yeah, they don't mention the guy who threw the punch, but they mention Habazan's trainer, Bashir Ali, and then they mention the article I'm reading about. There were words exchanged between Claressa's sister and I guess one of the trainers, but like Claressa wasn't there when the like actual punch happened. Like I don't think she was. I'm trying to find the part. Of course, she wrote this really, really, really long statement. Yeah, Shields, who was not in the lobby when Ali was attacked, says she is still reflecting on my role in the events leading up to the incident. Ali and Shields' sister exchanged angry words moment before the incident, but Shields said that didn't justify what happened. So I guess she wasn't wasn't like around in the immediate area when that happened.
Oh yeah, no, she had bounced by then. Or she was coming out. I don't remember which one.
I guess what I don't. Well, you know what? I can't really say it because it wasn't like it was. It was Claressa who threw the punch.
Right.
But it's just.
I will say though, she went on Periscope immediately after like the news broke to give her side of the story. And basically tried to egg Ivana into still fighting, which is incredibly tone deaf. Yeah, I'm looking at Ivana Habizin's like Facebook thing.
I guess my issue with things like this, and I get it, like it's your sister, but like.
Well,
Like,
it wasn't Shields. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it wasn't her, but like, if I'm her, like, I get it, man. You gotta travel with the entourage. You gotta have a gang with you. I get it, but like, you can't have people messing up the bag. Like y'all are gonna fight anyway. And I don't mean this for Claressa because she didn't throw the punch, but like, all of this is gonna get settled. You just gotta wait a day. Like, like you gotta wait one day. And then everybody can fight. Well, not everybody, but, you know, the two people who are supposed to fight can fight. And, you know, somebody wins, somebody loses. I mean, if you want to talk trash afterwards or whatever, have at it. But it's just like, I don't know, man.
yeah,
I gotta look.
She has
I gotta look at my sister or whoever was involved. I gotta look at them kind of crazy. Like, yeah, y'all are messing up my money. Like, I appreciate you having my back. I don't know what words were exchanged because like none of what I've seen says exactly like what they were arguing about or what the whole, you know, what all the shenanigans were. But like, you can't do that, man. Like, you messing up people's bags. All these people came there to see you. Now you're not there. I think it did say the event did continue on.
the event happened, but they gave out refunds for because the main event got canceled, and the venue was basically empty.
Yeah. See, like, come on, man.
Yeah. So that was the little bit of news that I remembered. So you can move on to the actual fights that happened in the ring and cage.
There we go. Yeah. Let's move on to some actual real fisticuffs that were legal and sanctioned. You know, gloves were on, things of that nature. So, I guess we'll start with Bellator first, because this one I think we can probably get through pretty quick, and then we'll go into Triple G and we'll finish off with UFC 243. So, Bellator 229 went down in Temecula, California. This was on Friday night. I didn't get a chance to watch these mostly until Saturday when I got off work, but I didn't get a chance to watch everything. But anywho, we would just run it from the top. Headlining the card was Lorenz Larkin versus Andrei Koreshkov. Forgive my memory on all these fights. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to rewatch any of these. I saw them once, and what I remember is just kind of what I remember. But I was a fan of the main event. I thought it was a really, really good matchup. It was a fun fight. Third round, not a lot happened, but we got some moments in the first two. I mean, really, like, this fight was the tale of, like, every round, well, minus the third. Each fighter had like their big moment. I think the first round with the Koreshkov, he got his knockdown first, right? I want to say.
Yeah, he hit him with that spinning wheel kick.
Yeah, nasty, like, very well timed, and it happened out of nowhere. Like, really nice spinning wheel kick that dropped Larkin. Props to Larkin. I thought he recovered from it really well. I think it caught him off guard more than anything. I mean, he definitely got dropped. But he recovered from it pretty well. But Koreshkov had like his huge moment in the first. Second round, man. I thought Larkin was gonna get him out of there. I remember a couple of flying knees. I feel like he caught Koreshkov with. I thought Larkin was closer to a finish than Koreshkov was. I'll say, in between their two like big moments that each of them had. No, it was a nice like back and forth. You got to see like how good both the guys were, each having their respective big moments in the first two rounds. And then it was one of those fights that came around to the last round, and it's kind of, I guess, whether you judge fights based on control or damage. Koreshkov controlled most of the last round, but like he didn't really do anything. Like, I can put you on the cage, I can take you down, but like he didn't land like really any ground and pound. It was just he was kind of just holding on to him. And I get it, because that second round he took a beating, so he was just probably just I need to recover, just survive. But Larkin didn't control it, but I think he had went for a guillotine for one of the takedowns. He was throwing some elbows. He had probably inflicted all of the damage in the third round. So I guess it just kind of came down to which one you kind of judge more. Judges saw fit to give Larkin the split decision. I'm not really mad at it. I guess I can kind of see it both ways. But I guess if I was to weigh in on my scale, I would probably put, I don't know, like it'd be different if Koreshkov took him down and was like actually landing some ground and pound. Even if it wasn't a lot, it could have just been like bare minimum, and I probably would have gave him that round. But if you take a guy down and like you really don't do anything, and he's at least trying to go for submissions, and at that point, because you literally haven't done anything in terms of damage, he can just throw a few elbows, and at that point, he's kind of trying harder, I guess, than you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not mad if he gets that decision. I'd love to see them two fight again. I thought it was a pretty good fight. But yeah, Larkin got a split decision. It was a really close fight. Like I said, that last round just kind of depends on, I guess, preference or if you score on damage or if you score on control.
Damage.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm happy for Larkin. Dude beat Jorge Masvidal, who's about to headline at MSG.
Yeah, I was trying to remember after this fight, like Larkin, he didn't leave the UFC on like a crazy lose streak, did he?
No, he left on a 2-fight win streak where he beat Jorge Masvidal and Neil Magny to be a top 10 welterweight. Yeah, he left because I think Bellator offered him more money.
I ain't mad.
And then he lost to Douglas Lima and Paul Daly. But he's on a 3-fight win streak, so it doesn't matter.
Wouldn't mind see him put himself in that title picture.
Like, he legitimate could have left. Like, there's a legitimate argument that he should have left on like a 5-fight win streak where he had beaten. Mind you, he beat Santiago Ponzinibbio. He knocked him out.
Yep. And then lost that split close, which you probably could have argued he won against Simonov. Yeah, dude's still a legit like top 15 welterweight. That's crazy.
I wish Bellator would side Simonov. Because he's just out in like ACA just doing his thing. But like, I don't think Roy McDonald's going to be around for much longer. And now that they've done the tournament, it feels like everybody's fought each other. So put some new blood in there.
Yeah, got to inject something new. But no, yeah, I'm happy for Larkin too. Like you said, he left the UFC and was still handling business. Continues to handle business. Had a few, rough patches on the way, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Definitely a good fight. So if you didn't get a chance to go watch that one, definitely go check that out. This next fight did not last very long. Moving down to lightweight, co-main event, Goiti Yamauchi versus Sadawad. Is this Yamauchi's first fight at lightweight?
No. I want to say his last fight was at lightweight too.
Either way, I like him at lightweight. I like what I'm seeing. This fight did not last really long at all. I can't really remember how it started. I just remember like literally. I mean, the fight was only like a little over a minute. the second it went to the ground, I like the setup he had for the armbar. I thought was dope. And once he got it in, like you knew that was
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of them arm bars. Yeah, it's not really a lot to say. Like once he got the arm bar in, it was pretty much it was pretty much over. But I like Yamauchi at lightweight. Like he doesn't look like he really gives up a ton of size or anything like that.
And no, he's
that
long as shit.
Yeah, and that ground game, boy, he'll give anybody issues on the ground. Like I hope to see him in. I mean, I would say I hope to see him in big fights, but Sadawad is probably one of the better lightweights on Bellator's roster, so he might not be too far out from a a big fight.
I mean,
Like,
Lord knows when Patricio is gonna put that. Patricio is gonna put that title up.
yeah. So, and I think lightweight too, kind of in Bellator. Like, it's a good division for them, but it probably could use some more
Names.
some more names, some newer blood. God, Yamauchi's only 26, man.
This is crazy because like I remember, like he's been around for a minute. Hold up, let me. It's been a while since I've checked like who's not in the UFC or Bellator because it feels like everyone's in the UFC or Bellator.
Yeah, he's almost a decade in.
Yeah, just been fighting forever.
Wins over Awad, Vishal, Piccolotti. I don't know if Ron Couture counts for much. Wins over Mike Richmond. Yeah, he's been around for a while.
So I'm looking at the people who are not in either the UFC or PFL or Bellator, and it's like they can go for like a bunch of Russian dudes, Marcin Held, Gleason Tabura, Gleason Tebow, my bad. They could bring back Will Brooks, which I don't think they want to do. Well, Norman Park's like either the champion or he's like constantly fighting for the title. But like they desperately need some like newer faces at those newer divisions, and like they have young talent, but their young talent's not ready to fight Michael Chandler.
Right.
Even if it's just like holdover talent, like just somebody who we can be like, oh, that's interesting. I'd like to see that fight, but that's a ways away, I guess. But yeah, no, good fight. Good performance from Yamauchi.
And moving down. Catch weight, I guess. I didn't know somebody missed weight. Or if they just agreed to catch weight, I'm not sure. But Kerry Melendez versus Mandy Polk. I didn't get a chance to watch this fight really in its entirety. So I can't comment too much on it. My lasting memory of the fight is the first couple of seconds where I guess Polk's idea was to just go in and shoot for the takedown, which cool, but like it didn't I don't know. Like I felt like she wanted to shoot, but maybe like she wasn't sure, or she wasn't sure of her timing, and while she was trying to figure that out, she got punched in the face.
Nice.
Like she just got rocked in the face. Trying to figure out like, do I go for the takedown now or like what? Yeah, she just ate one. But I can't speak on this fight in detail because I didn't really get a chance to watch all of it. Really, that was the story for these next two fights. Did you get a chance to catch this one?
No, the only two fights I watched were the Yamauchi and Koreshkov fights. The rest of the card was pretty interesting to me.
Okay, all right. So I'll just run down the semi-interesting ones that people might be interested in. You can go back and watch on DAZN. Was this on DAZN? Yeah. You can go back and watch on DAZN if you feel the need to. But Kerry Melendez got the win over Mandy Polk via unanimous decision. Tony Johnson versus Joe Schilling. This is the fight that opened the main card. Was an interesting fight. Boy, what a Joe Schilling ending. And I mean that in the sense that Joe Schilling just has some of like the most unfortunate like losses that I can think of in recent memory. a fight where there are moments where he's looking good, and I'm pretty sure he rocked Johnson a few times. And I was watching this, and then I fell asleep, and I didn't see the whole fight that day. I watched it Friday night, and I only saw the first 2 rounds. And then I woke up the next morning. I was like, oh, let me see who won the rest of this. And then I see a gif of Joe Schilling getting his lights turned off. Got rocked in the 3rd round, and he died on impact. So Tony Johnson knocked out Joe Schilling. I don't know, man. Joe Schilling's MMA transition has, it's been rough. It has been rough. But Tony Johnson knocked him out.
Like, you feel for the dude, because, like, his style of, like, just brawling is, like, suited for kickboxing. It's not suited for MMA. But this is the only sport where he can make any money in it.
Yeah, and it's just not been working out, man. It is not been highest of highs and lowest of lows. But Tony Johnson got the win via KO. Other results I'll just read real quick. Anatoly Tokov, who's probably somebody people keep an eye on at middleweight, he got a TKO win over Haracho Derevyanchenko, if I'm saying that correct. Salim Muknadov defeated Adel Al-Talimi via decision. That was actually a pretty good fight. I like what Salim looked pretty good in that fight. So go check that one out if you didn't. And on the post-limbs, Vladimir Tokov defeated Brandon Hastings via unanimous decision. Derek Anderson defeated Guilherme Bomba via unanimous decision. And one of Bellator's other prospects at welterweight, Joey Davis, he got a nasty flying knee KO over Jeffrey Peterson. So shout out to Joey Davis. I think he's 5-0, 6-0, not sure. No, he's undefeated, but just good to see one of their prospects. Do some good work. Why is Jordan Newman's name familiar? Is he a prospect too? I don't know why that name sounds familiar.
He's probably a wrestler.
Yeah, I think so. Jordan Newman got a TKO win over Riley Miller. I feel like he is a wrestler, unless I'm mixing him up with somebody else. But that name sounds really familiar. But he doesn't have a wiki, so I can't click on his name.
No, you're right. Like, that's a name I've heard before.
Yeah, I definitely know that name from somewhere. He's got to be a wrestler. He has to be a wrestler. But so shout out to Joey Davis though. That was a nice flying knee KO. So Bellator prospects, handling business. Always good to see. Need that next new wave of blood to come in. So congrats to those guys. But that was Bellator 229. From what I saw, it looked like a pretty solid card. So if you got the zone, I would definitely say go back and watch Larkin Korshkov. Watch Yamauchi's armbar over Sadawad. It was pretty nasty. The whole main card looked pretty solid. So go back and give it a watch. But let's quickly breeze through that. We will move on to what was a really good fight last night that I wish I would have chose to give more of my attention instead of watching Diego Lima and instead of the gentleman's name Luke Jamo. I don't have his name pulled up in front of me. Is his first name even Luke?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
He's the one I chose to win the main event.
Yeah.
My prediction didn't come true, sadly.
he tried. Kinda, sorta. How that fight was even a split, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But on the boxing front, Gennady Golovkin versus Sergiy Derevyanchenko. This went down last night. Once again, I was angry that we have to sit through 80 national anthems and all these long walkouts. It just felt like it took forever for this fight to actually start.
Sounds unpatriotic right now. I hope you realize that.
I mean, in my defense, the national anthem that I saw was not in my native language. I didn't know what was going on.
Wait, so you're not loyal to the Kazakhstani flag?
Nah, man, they got to do better. The national anthem didn't sound cool. Didn't have any flavor. Didn't have any oomph to it. But I'll let you kick this one off. How'd you feel about this? How'd you feel about this scrap?
It was a fun fight. It was a good fight. Derevyanchenko, I think, will turn into a very good middleweight. Well, he is a very good middleweight. I think he's gonna win a world title eventually. Um, but Golovkin, oof, he is old. He's officially old. Um, that's basically it. Like, he looked old, man. Like he's always had trouble with guys who will make him cover up and then change an angle on him. That's what um, Jacobs did. Um, and after like that second round, Derevyanchenko basically figured out if I make him cover up, I can make him chase me as I pivot out, and I can walk him into like a big punch. And he was really good with that. Moving forward the fight, he got knocked down in the first, trying to bang it out a little bit with Golovkin in the pocket. But once he started moving, it just seemed really apparent that Golovkin's only way. Sorry, there's a gigantic ass balloon in my window.
Mesmerized.
So the reason you guys heard me get up and go answer the doorbell was the bounce house guy is here for my stepbrother's birthday. And I look out my window right now, and the damn thing is above our house. But where was I going with this? Oh, yes. Yeah, Golovkin basically had to, like, and for like it wasn't even like forcing exchanges. It was like he had to wait for Derevyanchenko to basically stand in front of him long enough so that he can get his combinations going. And they were, I'm not gonna say few and far between, but if not for that first knockdown, that first round, I don't think Golovkin wins this fight. Hell, there was a body shot that Derevyanchenko hit Golovkin with that really hurt him, and then the referee stepped in and broke up the exchange.
Ah! I thought I was the only one who. Cause was it me or did the announcers not really? Did they even mention?
So I watched.
I was confused.
I only watched this fight in Russian. I didn't watch it through the proper DAZN means because I'm poor. But I don't know if they brought up or not, but like I saw a bunch of people saying like why did he break up that exchange? Golovkin was hurt. They really screwed Derevyanchenko over there. But you know, yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it didn't even look like the only thing I could think of was that maybe he thought it was low, but it wasn't.
He did land low a couple of times, chasing those body shots, but that did not look low. That looked like right on the solar plexus.
Yeah. I was really confused when that happened because he had a lot of momentum going that round, and I'm not saying that would have led to a finish, but
he gets a knockdown or he gets a 10-8 rounds like that.
Right.
It's a completely different fight.
Right. Yeah, that really kind of drove me up a wall. I was really confused when that happened. But no, I can't really add more than what you said. Like, I thought it was a really awesome fight. Like I said, outside of the knockdown, when Golovkin, I think he caught him with an overhand right, like clipped him on the head because like Derevyanchenko tried to like duck down, and he caught a mean one. But like after that, especially towards I want to say like the fourth, maybe the fifth from on, like those next like batch of rounds, yeah, he was really. I think what stood out the most to me was it seemed like Derevyanchenko's output. Like he was just so busy.
Yeah, it was never like he was throwing like six punch combinations. It was like he'd come in behind 3 or 4 punches, he'd hit an angle, and then he'd follow up with like 2 or 3 big ones and then bounce out.
Right. And then a lot of mixing it, a lot of good body shots too. Like consistently, going to the body when he had a chance to. Just really good. Just being, like I said, just really being the busier fighter. And like I said, it really did kind of make Golovkin look old because this young dude is just in here like, and it's not like Golovkin was landing some good body shots as well, but it seemed like Derevyanchenko the foot was on the pedal like the whole time. Like he never looked like he was really slowing down. He had a good he had a really good consistent pace like the entire fight. As to where to me it looked like Golovkin was. It looked like Golovkin was. I ain't gonna say pot shot, but I don't know if the numbers would back me up. I'm just going off the eye test.
I think more than pot shot, it was like he was just trying to find him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like he's just like I can't put 3 or 4 punches together because every time I try, he's like out of the way.
Right. Like I might get this jab off, but after that he's probably gone. So like I feel like Triple G was landing. He might have landed some of the harder hits, but Derevyanchenko I think kind of offset that was just like his output was just it was so much output. I remember during one of the rounds it did mention I think like Triple G's accuracy was more like he had landed like 40% up until that point or whatever round that was, and Derevyanchenko was only like 30-something%. But if you look at just the number of punches he threw, like Derevyanchenko had him up by a pretty sizable number. Like he was so busy that entire fight. But no, I thought it was a really really awesome fight. I love the back and forth. Did you agree with the decision? Were you fine with the decision?
Um, like, like if it wasn't for that 10-8, I think Derevyanchenko probably wins this fight. Like I can't get over that. I'm not mad that Golovkin won. Like he had like there were rounds where like I guess Sergiy took some time off and Golovkin got some work in, like some serious work in. But maybe it's just challenger bias because we like the only people we've seen give Golovkin this type of trouble have been like Danny Jacobs and Canelo, but yeah, no, I'm not mad I'm not mad at this decision, but if I was scoring the fight, I probably would have edged it to Derevyanchenko or a tie or a draw at the least.
Yeah, that 10-8 probably did help him a lot. And I wasn't really scoring round by round. I was just enjoying the fight. I was really enjoying what I was seeing. I think I edged it to Derevyanchenko, and that's just strictly going off the eye test, not really scoring round by round. But yeah, I wasn't super mad because there were a lot of rounds in like that middle portion of the fight that were really close. Like you probably could argue either or. So I wasn't super mad. I wouldn't scream bloody robbery, but I probably did score it for Derevyanchenko. But you know,
if they were to fight again, I think Derevyanchenko probably beats the brakes off him.
Yeah.
Like, cause
I won't say beats the brakes, but I think he wins a decisive. You can't argue that I won this fight.
Yeah, like I think like between Golovkin coming, like one of the things we didn't mention, Golovkin came in overweight. He was a pound over the weight limit, so he was like he won, but he doesn't get to be champion. Like I think he's just done. Like he just like not like physically a little bit, but mostly mentally. Like the politics of the Canelo fights, like them losing both of them, even though like we all thought he won the first one, and a lot of people thought he won the second one. Signing with the zone, and then freaking Canelo's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to fight him again. I'm up 2-0 on him. Getting stuck with like a really young, not young, but a dangerous opponent who doesn't really have a name in Derevyanchenko. Like, I think he is like, what am I even doing this for anymore if I don't have the Canelo fight? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's what, 30?
He's 37.
37? Yeah, like.
And the style he fights at, his career probably should have been over like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But he started late, so.
Then you combine it like at 37, you're definitely heading to like that tail end of your career, and you're probably thinking a lot about like you want the legacy fights now. Like you want you need the fights that like really really matter. And that's no disrespect to Derevyanchenko, but you gotta imagine like you really wanted this Canelo fight, and maybe some other big names, and now it's like I gotta fight these guys who these fights are probably doing a lot more for them than they are for me.
Right.
I guess. But hey man, you still gotta go in there and perform. And I mean, he got the win. Albeit, some people may feel a kind of way, but no, it was a really awesome fight. And I think it's one of those fights that one of those fights that where even when the loser lose, his stock probably goes up. I think a lot more people will probably pay attention to Derevyanchenko and whoever his next fight is. 'Cause that was a really good showing. But no, awesome fight, man. If you have the zone or any other alternative means to go back and watch the card or to watch that fight, I would definitely encourage you to do so. It was a really good fight. Lots of back and forth action. Two weeks in a row, I think, where, at least for me, where fights like exceeded expectations. I would say. Personally, for me, at least.
Yeah.
So.
Hold up, let me see what's on the cards for next week. Well, there's a rematch between Jessica McCaskill and Erica Farias, Mariana Juarez versus Carolina Duar, and nothing I think anybody but me would be interested in.
Yeah. Well, either way, shout out to boxing, man. Been a lot of good fights this year, I feel like. It's been one of those years in boxing I've probably had more fun this year than I can remember in recent memory, like watching fights.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because Terrence Crawford's only fought once this year.
Yeah.
Like I get that they struggle to find opponents for him, but like, dude, just put that dude on ESPN twice a year.
Yeah.
Keep his
keep his name relevant. If it's got to be a highlight reel fight, then whatever. It's just got to be a highlight real fight.
Shit, I missed the fight for next week. Our Alexander Usyk and our boy. The Cougar trainer.
Yeah. Florida man.
Former K1 and Glory star Tyrone Spong. That's on the zone. That's on the
we're covering that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're covering that. Definitely covering that. Oh man.
That's gonna be something because I'm expecting Usyk to just beat the shit out of him. Because Usyk is legitimately one of the top 5 boxers on the planet.
See, I have to do my homework because I can't remember if I've seen many of Usyk's fights before. So I have to do my homework. But I've seen other people echo that sentiment, so like Spong might be in some trouble.
Usyk's like basically how I compliment Tyson Fury's how I compliment Usyk in that like they both of them like they move way more elegantly and gracefully than anybody their size has any business doing.
All right. Shout out to Tyrone Spong. He should bring the Cougar with him during like his walk. I think they took the Cougar back actually. Can't.
That you? Did they take the Cougar or what? Or was he like forced to give it back?
I feel like one of the two. Either way, I'm pretty sure he can. He can't bring that down. But that would be fun to talk about. I forgot about that. But shout out to Gennady Golovkin and Derevyanchenko. Really good fight from both, man. But Golovkin got the win. Scorecards were 114, 113, 115, 112, 115, 112. And I guess I'll just read the undercard while I have it in front of me. Israel Madrimov defeated Alejandro Barrera, 5th round TKO. And Ivan Barancek defeated Gabriel Bracero via 4th round TKO. So, what? Oh, what?
So I went on our boxing to see like what people were saying about the fight before we hopped off. But someone put up a thread called about examples of middle class or privileged boxers, and the guy was like, every big fighter seems to come from poverty, like Pacquiao, or has like a tough childhood, like Mayweather or Tyson, or systematic oppression like Muhammad Ali. And then the very first answer to in the thread is, didn't Spence grow up in the suburbs? And someone immediately answered with, he had a dad and everything.
Oh man, I shouldn't laugh at that, but oh man. Shouldn't laugh at that, but that's funny. He had a dad and everything. Oh man. But that's all we got on the boxing front.
Wait, whoa. I'm sorry. This thread is very enlightening because. Wait.
You learning some new things.
No, never mind. I think it was somebody trying to troll. So I think I'm gonna hold that to myself.
All right. Oh man. But man, that was funny. But that's all we got on the boxing front. So we can go ahead and get to the main event of the evening, UFC 243, which went down in Melbourne, Australia. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty sure the gate was pretty big. They have something like 51,000 people there, something like that. Might have been more than that actually. But
57,600 something people, the largest crowd the UFC's ever got.
Hey, shout out to Australia fans. Shout out to the Australia fans.
I actually feel bad for them because last time they went, they put out like the little plastic chairs for everybody. I don't know if they did the same thing, but did you see the layout of the stadium?
Yeah, like the floor seats. Those chairs look really uncomfortable.
Well, beyond that, like, imagine being like 5'2" and sitting like 30 rows into those chair of white seats. Like, you can't fucking see anything.
Yeah. You gotta look at the big screen because you are not. Yeah, you ain't seeing nothing. You are seeing absolutely nothing. I liked how it looked. Like, I liked the whole, like, how the floor was white. Like, I thought it looked like the aesthetic was good. But yeah, I could imagine being down there. Like, if you're not in those first couple of rows, you might be having a hard time watching the action, seeing what's going on. But shout out to the Australian fans, man. Like, I feel like no matter if their guy won or lost, they took everything in stride. I respect that. Even though I think their crowd got silenced a couple times, but it seemed like that was a crowd that was just, they were just happy to be there. They were just happy to be there. I respect it. But UFC Melbourne, UFC 243, headline obviously middleweight title match. Robert Whittaker defending his belt against interim, well now new, but at the time interim champion Israel Adesanya. Man, oh man, where to start? I guess I can start with the write-up that I did, and I'll pat myself on the back. I got both of my predictions right. I predicted Adesanya and Hooker to both win, but I didn't envision them winning the way they did. I thought
Marvin Vettori was a harder opponent for Israel Adesanya than Robert Whittaker was.
Hey, you know what I was thinking of? Like, I posted this on Tumblr. Like, when Adesanya first got to the UFC, I'm worried, like, oh man, they might fast track him. They're giving him too much too quick. And what if his takedown defense isn't ready? You know, like, I didn't want to see him get derailed early and then, like, we saw the talent, but, like, you wanted to see it get developed, like, properly.
Yeah, especially since this guy's toughest opponent on the regional scene was, like, Ivan Jorge and Melvin Gillard, two former lightweights.
Right. And Gillard at the time was way past his
sell-by date.
Yeah. Like, I'm all worried about this guy, like, hoping, like, worrying that it just might not pan out, because we've seen that happen so many times where a guy's supposed to come in and rise to the top, and then he catches an L along the way, and he's either never the same, and we just don't hear from him again. And Adesanya just messed around and just won a title. I mentioned in my write-up that I did not, there was no way I envisioned any scenario that if this was going to turn to be a kickboxing match, there was no way Whittaker was going to win. Like, no way. There was no way I could picture him. If he couldn't, the only way I could see him winning it, had it been a complete stand-up, is he would have had to make this like a really dirty, grimy kind of fight, to where, like, he would have to have moments where, like, he pushed him against the cage and just made it really dirty, or he'd be able to like get in close and maybe land some combinations. Probably had to eat one along the way, but it would have to be a really just kind of grimy kind of fight. Like, you trying to snipe from range against Adesanya, unless you have some kind of one-punch knockout power, you're losing that 10 times out of 10. Like, Adesanya is way too slick. Head movement's too good. He's pretty good at, like, not getting hit. Angles off really well. Like, he's just way too slick for that. And I knew for Whittaker, probably within, like, the first couple of minutes, probably about 3 to 4, I was like, if Whittaker doesn't do something different other than what he's doing now, he's either going to lose a decision where he just gets out kickboxed every round, or like this might get ugly. But I didn't think he was going to get. I didn't think this was going to happen to him. Did not see this coming.
This was the worst performance of Whittaker's career. The worst one since the Wonder Boy fight, which, like, what the hell was he trying to do? Like, we could talk about like whether or not he was going to win a kickboxing match, but he wasn't going to win a kickboxing match where he was literally just throwing himself at Adesanya.
Yeah,
no feinting, like no foot feints, no feints with the like. Just I'm going to throw this really stiff up jab and then this very winging overhand right, over and over and over again, and maybe a left hook every once in a while to keep Adesanya honest. But like, what did he think he was gonna do?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I noticed too. I didn't think in this fight he fought behind the jab as well as I've seen him do in other fights. Because in other fights he would still kind of have like a stiff jab, but I feel like he was at least mixing his combinations up better. Like you said, he might feint a little more. He was doing things he did himself a lot more favors, I think, in other fights. It seemed like in this fight, it was a jab, an overhand right, a hook. Might throw in a head kick in every now and again. But that was it. It was like he was hoping to just kind of leap in and just like catch Adesanya in like a brawling moment, and like he thought that was going to work. Against a guy who, as we see, angles off really well. He can slip punches really well. And apparently his counter hook game is like it is just out of this world.
But like every time he threw that right hand, he threw himself like completely out of position. And I'm like, is it because up to this point, like I guess the lankiest fighter he's fought is like Uriah Hall, who has a problem pulling the trigger, like Adesanya doesn't. But like, that's the only thing I can think of, like dudes who can make those like small angle adjustments and like make you pay for them, or just like gonna like, and who are exceedingly long so that he has to like jump into range.
Right.
Like that's what happened with Wonder Boy. That's what happened here. Like, I'm just so baffled by like, what the game plan was, because like everything seemed like desperation. Like there's a sequence in the first round where Whittaker he throws a head kick and Adesanya ducks out, and as opposed to like trying to reset, like Whittaker throws this flailing right hook at him that throws him completely off balance and he falls down. Like he gets up, but like a less forgiving Adesanya maybe knocks him out in that moment. It's just like what was the game plan here?
It looked really sloppy, and I think probably because I went back and watched some of Whittaker's other fights. I think in other fights, even though I don't think in some of the other fights he was that sloppy, but I would even say I would go to say maybe against a Jacare and a Romero, he can somewhat kind of get away with doing stuff like that because they're not as other guys can't really do, or I don't know if they can or they just don't.
They don't have Israel Adesanya's counter game.
Right. They don't have the counter game. They can't slip punches like he do. They don't angle off like he does. So Whittaker against other guys can kind of get away with you. I can hit you with this jab and then through this kind of just leaping right hook or leaping left hook, and I might actually catch you because you're not really like super defensively sound. You'll stand there and give me a target to hit. As to where Adesanya is not giving you that. You have to earn every little inch you get with him. Like, and then we saw like like we said, when you get in the pocket, dude will tag you and slip off ever so slightly, and then a hook is coming, and you're about to eat it. And then even like while he's trading in the pocket, Adesanya doesn't like just stand straight up in the pocket and it's like, yo, we just gonna trade blows. Like,
Nice.
he's in the pocket but still like angling off, still kind of slipping in and out. I mean, I feel like that last the KO punch was kind of a culmination of what was happening in the fight. Like,
Well, the KO punch is the same freaking punch that freaking knocked Whittaker down in the first round.
right, like end of the first round, a hook, of course, at the very last second.
A hook off of a very ugly Whittaker overhand right that took him completely out of position. And he just like, and it wasn't even so much of like Whittaker does like look like his eyes glaze over a little bit when he gets hit, but like that's a balance thing. Your feet are like they're both square, but Adesanya has like upper body control, like to the point like where like, okay, I'm in a position to throw a punch, he's not, and he just throws like this really casual uppercut that throws Robert Whittaker all the way back. It's so. Like you said, like he was able to do this against Yoel Romero because Romero is not. If you throw at Romero, there's a chance he may slip, but he's not going to slip and like be in a position to counter you back the same way that Israel Adesanya is.
Right. And then in that second round, it seemed like because Adesanya didn't get too busy in the first round. He kind of felt them out a lot, and then he obviously had the major knockdown at the end. That second round, I felt like he kind of just had everything figured out, and it was just like all systems go.
Dude, well, look, at the beginning of the round, Whittaker's having success. He's double jabbing. Like, that's the thing. When he was doubling up with the jab as opposed to like throwing the jab and then coming with the overhand right, like he was finding success. He was getting Adesanya to back up and like turn away and stuff. But like, there were also points where he just straight up just runs at him and then jabs. And it's just like, this isn't touch karate. You can't do that.
Right. Dude is he's way too elite of a striker to where if you think that's not going to work, that is just not going to work.
If it works, it's not going to work more than like a couple times.
Right. He's gonna figure that out eventually. He's going to find a way around it. And it was just the way Adesanya just, like I said, just angles off. That hook counter game, that hook counter game is crazy. Like, dude just, like he stays in the pocket, but like he's not in the pocket. Like, he can hit you, and I'm going to just dip my chin out, like right outside the hitbox a little bit. But this hook is still coming. You still finna get this hook.
Like, I'm watching the fight now as we talk about it, and like he hits Whittaker with that same counter, like 5 different times in the first 2 minutes of the round. Whittaker tries to throw that overhand right. He angles out, and it just hits him. The only difference is like he's hitting him earlier in the combination. Like the one that ended Whittaker, like Whittaker had thrown the punch and was just completely out of position to take a shot. Like here, he's kind of still has his head over his feet, and is still actually facing Adesanya. So like, he's able to take the brunt of the shot. Like, and
it's almost not fair because you would think in those like moments when they're both throwing hooks like kind of in the pocket, because Adesanya is so good at just like angling off and just kind of slipping, like you think he's there to be hit, and like you throw and I'm gonna just back my head up like 3 inches to the left, and you're gonna completely miss, or you might hit me, but it might like roll off, like you're not gonna get the full brunt of whatever you're throwing. But when I catch you with this hook, I'm right on the money because you can't angle off like I can. Your head is still there to just get tagged. But that last hook caught Whittaker right on the chin, man.
Right in that knockout zone.
Yeah. This was
like you can see Adesanya building to the exchange because he's the one who initiates the final exchange in the fight, where he comes forward, gets stopped by Whittaker's jab. Like it just got to the end right here. Hold up. Like, yeah, so he comes forward, drawing out the jab, gets Whittaker to throw the overhand right. Basically, I don't know if he slips it, if he parries it. Hold up. Jab. No. So he uses his left hook basically to get Whittaker to throw the right hand past his body. Like, it's kind of like a parry, and then counters with the right hook. That gets Whittaker standing up and gets him into that left hook. Wild.
Whew.
And the funny thing is, like, Adesanya is in like no position to get him himself.
That's what's so unfair about it. Like, yeah, that is like you think you're about to catch him in like this brawling moment. I wonder if he kind of thought he could because like him and Adesanya and Gastelum, I guess, had like similar moments, but I feel like the difference is like at least Gastelum might give you a couple of feints. He also has really fast hands, so he can beat you to the punch. But like Gastelum had a couple of moments where he was able to like clip or catch Adesanya with a really good one in kind of those close quarter situations. But at least to me it seemed like Gastelum, he'll give you a feint. He'll feint his way in a little bit. He has a decent amount of head movement, and dude is just really fast with the hands, so he can kind of get away with that. In addition to having a lot of power, also.
Well, and he's just better in the pocket than Whittaker apparently, because like Whittaker's just like they both sling, but like Gastelum is throwing with like Whittaker looks like he's trying to hit a target. Like he is throwing like his entire body behind these shots, and his feet are just like all over the place. To Gastelum's credit, he kept his feet underneath his body, and he was able to take the punches a lot cleaner. He was always facing Israel. Like, that was not the case here.
Not at all. Oh, man. Yeah. Boy. I think this might have I don't know. This was I don't say a bad matchup, but
this is not, Adesanya is not the type of dude you want to face when you fought twice in 2 years, and that one opponent is like a completely different fighter you prepare for.
Yeah. Oof. Oh, boy. Yeah, what a performance. I don't really have much else to really say. Like, what a performance.
It's all in the feet, man. Gotta watch where your feet are put.
And if you're gonna fight Adesanya, like I said, unless you got some kind of ungodly knockout power, you gotta be creative in there. You can't. That wasn't it.
I mean, the thing
that wasn't it.
Like, he did not expect that Gastelum head kick. You gotta sneak shit on him, and it's really hard.
But you gotta have a full arsenal ready, because Adesanya is going, man. But I'm not gonna say I'm not the type to jump over the fence and be like, oh, it's completely over for Whittaker. He's done. He's dead. Bury his career.
I need to see. I need to see him bounce back. Like,
yeah,
like, because like those Romero fights
that probably took a lot. I hope it's not a Kane JDS situation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. Like I really like Robert Whittaker. Like I really like Adesanya too. Don't get me wrong, but like, just like you see him go through those fucking wars with Yoel Romero and like come out the other end, and he he has all these health issues, and he finally gets back, and he does it in front of like this stadium full of like 57,000 of his countrymen, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to Adesanya Costa.
Yeah, that should be fun. I think that'll be interesting because of the power that Costa has.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that'll play a factor. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing those two fight. But yeah, from Costa, I'm taking notes. I'm definitely taking notes. Yeah, you gotta be creative, man. You gotta be a little more creative. But we'll see. Yeah, Adesanya versus Costa, that's gonna be amazing whenever it does happen. But congrats to Israel Adesanya, man. That was a really great championship winning performance. It don't get much better than that. It does not get much better than that. And the whole entrance he had going on, like it was a show. Like that whole fight, everything leading up to it and afterwards was just a show. And to have it end like that was just that's a picture perfect ending for him.
Yeah.
It does not get much better.
I really appreciate Adesanya as like a personality. Like I think he talks too much. Just because not because I think he talks too much and like, oh, be humble or whatever, but like more in the aspect of like not everything he says is a home run.
Yeah,
it
he was
gets
definitely
a little corny.
Yeah, his post fight, he threw too many hooks. He was trying to
But he looks like he's having fun out there, and like his trash talk never goes beyond like I'm going to beat the shit out of my opponent.
Yeah, he seems like somebody who genuinely does enjoy like what he
does. Yeah.
What he does. He's like a big kid. He really loves just fighting.
Yeah,
like,
and I appreciate that over what we've gotten in the past, or like, like a Colby Covington, or like what Conor McGregor eventually morphed himself into.
Right.
Or even though he was coming up, because like Conor McGregor's whole strategy was just like to fucking diss the accomplishments of literally everybody he fought. Like Adesanya's like, no, I just go out here and beat the shit out of you. I don't care who you are.
Right. Hey man.
Yeah.
You've been doing it so far.
I don't get the hate. I'm just saying.
Amazing, man. Like we always talk about kickboxers coming in and trying to make the MMA transition, and this guy just went all the way to the top.
Mm-hmm. Most successful since, I was gonna say, I guess Reem, but that feels wrong because Reem was an MMA fighter who got good at kickboxing. Crow Cup, Mark Hunt,
maybe
one or the other.
Yeah, probably one of them. Yeah, he's ahead of that class of guys. So, props to Israel Adesanya, man. Amazing performance. But looking forward to seeing Robert Whittaker again. I'm definitely want to see the rebound fight and how he looks, what he's able to pull from this fight and make adjustments to in his next one. But what a main event!
I'd like to see him fight, because we've only seen him fight Hall, Brunson, Jacare, and Romero. Like I'd like to see him against either the winner or loser Gastelum Hill.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Because I figure Gastelum will either fight I think Gastelum's gonna win that fucking fight. I think if they can, if Adesanya gets past Costa, they're gonna do Gastelum Adesanya too. Because that first fight, you put that shit on like UFC Unfiltered or wherever the hell it's called on ESPN 1 or 2, like you're gonna get people clamoring for a rematch.
Real quick before we go off this fight, now that you brought that up, I rewatched that fight the other day, and this has never happened to me before. I swear I almost got emotional watching that 5th round. I felt I felt something watching that 5th round of that fight. I don't know what it was, but something that 5th round like really got to me.
It was a special fight.
Yeah, that 5th round, I've never felt that before.
Yeah.
I was low-key emotional watching that last round of that fight.
I think last year we struggled a little bit finding like a fight of the year. Like what did we end up voting on for fight of the year last year? Was it because we had like Rodriguez versus what's his face on there? Korean Zombie.
I think we all had different answers.
Well, we all had different answers because we all agreed that we had to pick different fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year I don't. Yeah.
This year has been. There have been some great ones. We had 2 fight the year candidates on the same freaking card, in Holloway Poirier and Adesanya Gastelum. Hold up, I have to
go back. I actually have been thinking about our awards this year. It's
Right.
not too far out.
Well, I know. Well, just for the record, like awards for this year, Adesanya's Fighter of the Year. Like spoilers,
yeah.
like he can't not be.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is killing me. What did we have as Fight of the Year last year? That was 20.
See, I got my years mixed up. I remember the one year Tay got mad at me because I did detention and he was supposed to fight in the cornfield. I did tension and I was supposed to. I did tension and Rate. I can't remember if that was last year or the year before. Oh man, I don't remember what I have for fight of the year last year. You keep looking that up. I'll
well, it's gone. 2018,
and we'll move on.
Yeah.
But just amazing main event, man. Really, just amazing main event. But moving on to the co-main event, which I was also really, really looking forward to. At lightweight, Dan Hooker versus Al Iaquinta. In my prediction for this fight, I initially was gonna pick Raging Al to get the W, but I had to sit and think about it, and I was like, you know what, man? After watching a couple Dan Hooker fights, like he just has a way, and I get it. Like he lost the Barboza fight, but that's Barboza, man. Like when Barboza gets a guy who's not gonna wrestle him to death and like give him like crazy amounts of pressure, you know, Barboza gonna Barboza. So that fight is what it is.
Yeah, like friggin'. There's one way.
And Al can't do that.
That's not who Al is. No.
Yeah, Al can't do that. I mean, he can pressure, but not like he can't. Not the way.
Hooker can't do that, but yeah.
Yeah. But I was looking at Hooker's fights, man. I'm like, dude, he just has this. He can just end the fight like at any time. Like, dude will just throw up a stepping knee and you'll just die. Like, and that's just gonna be.
Yeah, he's so casual about it.
Like, you don't see it coming. He doesn't like. Yeah, really, it's really casual. You really don't see it coming. It's just like 1 minute y'all are trading, or you just might be like circling around on the outside, and the next minute his knee is in your chin and you're gone. He just has this like instant like I'm gonna end the fight kind of power, and I was like, I don't know, man, he might get out of here. He might get out of here. I was like envisioning Al just gonna walk into something, but nah, man, great. Probably one of Hooker's better performances of his career. Al just really couldn't get inside all that often. And Hooker tore Al's leg to shreds with leg kicks. Had that man switching stances for like the entire second half of the fight.
Ironically, that from Southpaw is where he had his most success.
Right. Like he landed a couple of good right hands. And that was the one thing about Hooker. The one chance I did give Iaquinta is that I thought Hooker would be susceptible to an overhand right because he keeps his hands low. And I was like, man, I could see Iaquinta just kind of rushing in. He might land a hard overhand right. And it might not knock Hooker out, but that could be like the beginning of the end. Like maybe he'll flurry him or something after that. I was like the one kind of opportunity I gave him. But nah, man, Hooker, outside of the few moments that Al had, like you said, when he did switch southpaw, Hooker just killed Al with leg kicks. Fought behind his jab, I think, a lot better than he's done in some of his previous fights. And I'll give Al credit, like, he was trying to mix it up. He was going for takedowns because the stand-up wasn't going too well, and he couldn't do anything with Hooker.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Al for yelling at the ref when he grabbed the single leg, and I don't know if he got his eye poked right before that, and the ref was gonna stop, like, to intervene, and he was like, "No, I got this single leg, bro. You gotta let me.
Yeah, let me work.
You gotta let me work." Yeah, didn't amount to nothing, but I appreciated.
I mean, it amounted to him getting mounted. Because
Yeah,
Hooker immediately like got his hips down and just freaking flattened him out.
yeah.
But I remember I listened to the podcast and I remember the fight of the year we chose. Well, I chose anyway was Whittaker Romero 2.
I think I was the outlier.
Yeah.
That's why Tate wanted to fight me in the cornfield. I get it.
But
I get it.
I mean, I feel like last year was light on options. This year, like, we have like 3 really solid options, and one of them again involves Yoel Romero.
Right, he's everywhere. He's
everywhere. But yeah, no, go ahead. Finish. Sorry.
Yeah. No, Hooker, like, Al lost like every facet of this fight. Like, got battered on the feet with leg kicks. Ate a jab. He got rocked with I can't remember if that was right hook. I can't remember what round that Hooker dropped him. But, like, he tries to mix it up, tries to go to the ground. Normally ends with his head getting stuffed to the ground. I think he got his back taken one time, got mounted, like, and Al just could not get inside well. Didn't really have, like, great footwork. Couldn't, like, weave his way in or feint his way in. Hooker just pieced him up. Like, he really just pieced him up for 3 rounds. Good jab, good leg kick, great stellar takedown defense. He really just kind of shut Al down. By the 3rd round, Al's face is all, like, busted open. And like you said, Al had a few moments of success when he was forced to switch to southpaw because his leg was just hanging on by a thread. But, like, outside of those few moments, man, Hooker really just kind of went to town on him. I was honestly surprised he didn't get a finish, but, you know, props to Al, dude. It's just tough for no reason. Just great performance from Hooker, man. That was a really, really good performance from him.
Yeah. So I just realized with Tumblr's, like, ban on all things related to sex, I can't type Dan Hooker's name in because nothing will come up. But yeah, no, the thing that really, like, getting into this fight that I thought about was, like, Dan Hooker is a fucking ridiculously huge, like, 6'12" motherfucker at lightweight. And Al Iaquinta, for, like, all his, like, really sound boxing fundamentals, he's not a pressure fighter. And he's not an outside fighter. He's like, we're going to fight at a certain range, and whether that's, like, against, like, in the center of the cage or the end of the cage, it's always going to be the same. He's like a boxer puncher, like a Jose Aldo type, like, where he's not, like, there's no push and pull. It is, we're going to exchange, like, at range, not at range, but you know what I mean. Like, he's not trying to push you into the cage, and he's not trying to get you to follow him. He's just trying to box with you. And my thought process was, Dan Hooker is amazing at, like, keeping range and punishing people for trying to get inside. So, like, I was, my thought process was like, okay, how does Al Iaquinta win a fight with a guy who has, like, a 4-inch reach advantage on him, who is good at the push and pull game, and who probably hits a hell of a lot harder than he does? And the answer is he doesn't, and he walks into he tries to flurry himself into the inside, and proceeds to get lit up by counters every time he does it. In that range, he just get leg kicked to death because Hooker is a very good leg kicker. And great performance by Dan Hooker. Dude he is so fun to watch because it's like all the violence with him is really casual. There's no wind up. There is no there's no urgency, but it's not like a Pat Curran situation where like Pat Curran has no urgency, so he loses fights. It's like when I touch you, it's going to hurt. So like I don't have to like stress about it. And it's not even like he's out here throwing punches at like 100% where he's like loading all the way into them. He's just like letting shit fly, and it's really cool to see. Um, and he's apparently a pretty damn good grappler. Like he's called the Hangman for a reason, I guess. Um, Shouts to Aya Quintus, just freaking flat out toughness. Like he goes 5 rounds with Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's gone eight rounds with Kevin Lee. Shit. He went the full 5 with Donald Cerrone despite getting his ass beat for the vast majority of that fight. And he manages to see the belt here. Like that dude is durable as shit. Probably not what you want to be known for, but
I mean, it has got him some wins. So, but yeah, against a guy like Hooker, you don't want to just be the durable guy who just kind of gets.
That's not what you want your reputation to be. Yeah.
Yeah. No bueno. No bueno. I was thinking immediately after this fight, and obviously, didn't mention Hooker won unanimous decision, really clear across the cards. Who would be next for Hooker? He called out Dustin Poirier, but Poirier posted on Twitter basically saying like, "Nah, bro, I'm good."
He's fighting the Irishman.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see a fight between Hooker and I have to recheck my lightweight rankings real quick.
You got ahead of Hooker, notable names: Islam Makhachev, Alexander Hernandez, DuBronx.
I figure Hooker's gonna be in the top 10 because Al is at number 6, right?
Yeah. So then in the top 10, but a lot of these guys are tied up. So you can't do Tony, you can't do Poirier, you can't do Conor. Probably can't do Gaethje. Because didn't he say he wanted to take a break?
I don't know. He might have, which wouldn't surprise me. He's earned it, but
yeah.
Those dudes are off the table. I like the Felder fight. I'd like the Poirier if McGregor doesn't come back or gets into more trouble. Like he's got to fight somebody. Though I think Poirier would probably angle for somebody else. Who's Kevin Lee fighting again?
He's got Gillespie.
The winner of one of those fights, the Bronx. Yeah, like anybody who's free, I guess. Like if we're being real, like probably not Cerrone because he's coming off a loss or a couple losses actually. And I think Gaethje's going to be angling for like a big fight after his recent run of just like 3 back-to-back first round knockouts.
Yeah.
But like for as much talent as there is, there's not a lot of these dudes who have like a whole bunch of momentum behind them because they are just chewing each other out.
Right. Yeah, I say inside the top 10 because I don't think he'll get the Gaethje fight. I think that's the only one in the top 5 that he could possibly get, but I don't think it'll happen. I like the Felder fight, and I'm gonna say the DuBronx fight only because, and I didn't mention it because we didn't do fight announcements, but DuBronx has a fight coming up with Jared Gordon. I can't remember which event, but
probably the Brazil card in November.
Yeah, Sao Paulo. I feel like Hooker and DuBronx at this point, and this is assuming if DuBronx beats Jared Gordon, probably 2 guys who are due for huge fights. And if they can't get a huge fight against a top 5 guy, then maybe they just need to fight again. Yeah. Like it's kind of getting to that point. Like if Hooker can't, if Hooker doesn't, if there's no Hooker Felder, I want Hooker DuBronx. So these are 2 guys who deserve top fights who, can't really seem to to get them. And at this point, just let them scrap it out with each other.
And I don't know what Pettis is doing next. But that's a possibility, I guess. If he wants like a big name opponent.
Yeah, you could do that. Did DuBronx fight Pettis? That was a fight, right?
Yeah, it happened at featherweight.
Okay.
And Pettis subbed him by guillotine, I think.
We'll see. I think there are some good options. Probably not the biggest names I think he wants, but I like the Felder and DuBronx if DuBronx wins his next fight. But we'll see. But not great performance from Dan Hooker, man. Dude is out here, just casually beating people up. Seems like a nice guy, but he'll like kill you. Like, dude will just flick his arm out and you'll just like dive a right and it's over. But nah, great win for Dan Hooker. Moving on to heavyweight. Sergiy Spivak versus Tai Tuivasa.
Tai Tuivasa, man, like no type of. He got taken down like 6 times. Yeah, on 6 attempts.
This fight was kind of hard to watch. Yeah, like Tuivasa started off great. He had a really hard leg kick to start the fight. Dropped Spivak. After that, I mean, he landed a couple good shots on the feet. He caught Spivak up against the cage a couple times, but Spivak just kept catching Tuivasa's kick and just dumping him to the ground. And not only that, he caught his kick, dumped him to the ground. He gave him the judo throw like 2 times. Like, and then the last sequence right before he, I think he shot for a double, had his hands clasped behind Tuivasa and just dumped him. And just proceeded to beat the crap out of him until he got the arm triangle choke. But Tuivasa should have won this. I think. Like, on paper, I feel like this should have. I ain't gonna say it was a gimme fight, but
this was a fight that he was supposed to win.
Yeah, they put you in front of your hometown against a guy that I'm pretty sure they thought you could beat. And I think most people would have thought, in general, if you would have asked them, they would have thought you could beat. And
you get taken down 6 times in 7 minutes. Like, come on. Again, that's like excuse me. Yeah, I don't like. I've never been super high on Tai Tuivasa, but even I thought he was better than that.
Yeah, and again, I got to give Spivak credit because he took the fight to where he knew he was better, and like he kept going to that well. Like, he just kept getting takedowns over and over, and he kept putting himself in the best, situation to win. Went into a hostile crowd against a guy that everybody loves there. Like I said, this was definitely a match that I'm pretty sure everybody thought that Spivak was going to lose. And he went in and was like, nah, catch you with this judo throw. Toss you on your head, put you in a little brother headlock.
I'm going to catch you with this judo throw 4 times.
Right. Yeah, and like I know Tuivasa is only like 26, but I feel like we're not seeing like the improvements. Yeah, and it's starting to. You're starting to hit that point now where you're kind of starting to worry. Like, I don't know if it's the gym. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, if you can't beat Spivak, this I don't know. That's three in a row, right? 3 losses?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good. No bueno. Yeah. Good on Spivak, man. I can't really take away from anything he did. Like you said, when you have a 100% takedown rate, like, that's a fight you're probably gonna win. And like I said, he mounted Tuivasa, busted his face open, elbowed him a couple good times, landed some really good ground and pound, and then just sunk in that arm triangle choke. And Tuivasa was out cold. I didn't think he was going to get it because they were so close to the cage, but got it to work.
Well, it helps when Tuivasa is literally moving as far away from the cage as humanly possible in that situation. Like, he's literally like trying to turn away from the cage, and it's just like, what are you like? That's not how you get out of the submission. Like, that's the thing that kills me. He really looked like he didn't have any idea what to do in that position. Like, he knew what to do when Spivak went for the scarf hold, but I think that was just natural instinct. I don't think that was like a trained response. He's like, oh, his back is open. I'll try going that way.
Yeah.
Disappointing performance from Tuivasa. Surprising, but whatever from Spivak.
Yeah.
Maybe next time don't go for the scarf holds. Just try to engage on the ground, because he got up like 5 times.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, whatever you do, that ain't it. that ain't it. But here's what it is. Sergiy Spivak went in there, handled business, got the arm triangle choke in the second round. So congrats to him. Moving on to a fight that we won't really spend too much time on because you didn't watch it and I watched it, but I don't really have any feelings towards it. But we'll give it a mention because we got to give props where props are due. At welterweight, Diego Lima defeated Luke Jamo via split decision. It was basically a kickboxing match. Lima did land a lot of good leg kicks, but just not really a whole lot happened in this fight. Like, really good leg kicks from Lima. He won a kickboxing match, but it just wasn't. There's nothing to sit here and really like break down, to be honest. It was kind of one of those fights. I don't even think it should have been a split decision, but the right person won, so cool. I guess so. Congrats to Diego Lima. He got the split decision win over Luke Jamo. And rounding out the main card, heavyweights back at it, man. Yorgan De Castro, who got signed off the Contender Series, versus Justin Tafa. Yikes. It's just yikes. We're going to throw hands. We're going to do a little bit of clinch work. And, Tafa tried to rush in with a blitz. Caught a left hand. Body slumped over. Soul departed. That was it. I don't really got much of a... no, I will say, actually. I like the body kick that De Castro uses. I really like that. He landed that a couple good times. I like that kick. I think he did that a few times in his because I did watch him in the Contender Series because I remember his story. So he's a guy like I feel like you root for, like you want to see him do well. He has the whole fighting from a family, just everything's about the family. Like I'm just really just trying to get our lives into a better place.
Right.
So I'm happy he got the win.
He's like 40 years old already.
Right.
Well, he's 31. Why did I think he was 40? Was he the...
He looks cool. Oh, he got a performance of the night.
Oh,
Hey.
I'm confusing him for the dude who won Tough, the last Tough heavyweight season.
I was going to say he looks older.
Yeah.
But, nah, man, congrats to him, though, man. That's a good...
Props to him.
Yeah.
That the Justin Tafa punch that ended up with him getting knocked out is the exact same punch that Tai Tuivasa threw against GGG. That big leaping in overhand right with no regard for where he is in the cage and no regard for his opponent's potential counters. Yeah. Keep your punches tight, people. There's a time and a place to throw the big loop and shit, but when you're like 5 feet away from your opponent, that probably isn't it.
Yeah. It is not it. No bueno.
No bueno.
But good on DeCastro. UFC debut. You're on the main card on the pay-per-view, and you kill a man. And you opened up the card. You set the tone.
It's really funny now I think about it because that's also how freaking what's his name lost, Robert Whittaker.
Hey man, you leap in, you get slept. You gotta set them punches up, man. You can't be just leaping in thinking it's gonna be sweet. End up looking at the ceiling.
Asking how the fight went or when it starts.
Right. Like, yo, did we make the walk yet? Why am I on the ground? Were we just doing stretches? Yeah, nah, you got flatlined, buddy. Yeah, you didn't make it. But that was the main card. It was a pretty good main card. Like Lima and Jamo, yeah. Everything else though, I was for it, man. Like the Castro set off the tone of the card with a nasty KO. You know, Tuivasa got upset, but I can't hate on what Spivak did. I like the arm triangle choke finish. Hooker had one of his best career performances, and Adesanya just was in the Matrix. Like that was just the story of the night, and probably gonna be like one of the stories of the year. That performance. So I really enjoyed this main card. It turned out a lot better than what I thought it would be just looking at it on paper. So yeah, go back and watch the main card if you get a chance. So I guess we'll skate through some of these prelims because I know you didn't get a chance to see all of them. I saw pretty much all of them, but to be honest, some of them I don't remember in a bunch of detail, and they're probably not worth like a lot of technical breakdowns and so on and so forth. But ESPN2 portion of the card, which is the preliminary fights, headlining the prelims, excuse me, was Jake Matthews versus the hairiest man on the planet, Rostam Akhman.
Wait, are you talking about Sweater Man on this card? And I didn't know that?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, he didn't do nothing.
I didn't do nothing last time he fought either.
He sat there with a sweater. That's kind of all he did. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I missed this fight initially because I had to take my little brother to his homecoming dance. So I missed the fight. And I watched it this morning, and I got to the midpoint of like the second round. And I was like, you know what? Just cut this off. It wasn't doing nothing for me.
I didn't watch it.
I don't think we missed much, to be honest. And anybody can correct us if we're wrong. I don't think our life would have been any different had we watched Jake Matthews versus Rostam Akhman. No disrespect to either, but it wasn't one of those kind of fights. But Jake Matthews got the unanimous decision, and Sweaterman, he took the L. Next fight, which to be honest I watched and I don't remember at all, at welterweight, Callum Potter versus Maki Pitolo. I think this was Potter's first win in the UFC, I want to say. So congrats to that. He got the unanimous decision win, but I can't tell you how the fight went because I didn't.
Same.
There we go. Keep on rolling. Moving down at lightweight, a fight I was looking forward to. This is one of the few fights on the prelims that I had circled. Brad Riddell versus Jamie Mullarkey. Brad Riddell is a former kickboxer. He holds wins over John Wayne Parr. I researched him a little bit before this card, and I'm always just interested to see how like kickboxers do when they transition to MMA. He had prior MMA experience to this fight, but I hadn't watched any of his MMA fights, so I didn't really know. I wasn't sure what I was getting into. Just I knew from the kickboxing highlights I saw that dude was a pretty good striker, so I just wanted to see how his skills would translate. And he's pretty solid. This was a really violent fight. Like by the third round, bro, this fight escalated to like catastrophic proportions. For one, Brad Riddell is he's a pretty sturdy lightweight. Like, dude's upper body frame is ridiculous. He is a very sizable lightweight. Really good in the pocket. You can tell he's pretty comfortable on the feet with throwing combinations. But really had a pretty decent overall MMA game. Like, there were a couple times where he did get taken down. He had some pretty good scrambles to get himself out of situations. And there were times where he did like get completely put on his back and still found ways to, get up, get to a scramble, and find his way back to his feet. So that was good to see. I think anytime you watch a kickboxer come into MMA, that's a skill you want to see them have. You don't want to see them get put on their back and they just kind of look completely lost. So it looked like he's definitely, he's definitely fully entrenched into MMA. He's not just trying to stand up. He's working on all parts of his game. So that was good to see. Boy, can Malarkey take a hit. He caught so many flush shots in this fight, and dude just refused to go away. But I'll be honest, as fun as this fight was to watch, and I was enjoying it, there were moments, I think, in the third round where, like, I love violence. We watch the sport. Of course we love violence. No other. Why else are we watching? But it did get kind of uncomfortable in the third where, like, they were having these exchanges, and albeit I think Malarkey did rock Riddell once when I think Riddell got a little too full of himself, got caught with a good one, and almost got put out of there. I think Riddell at one point took his back. Once he almost choked him out, but Riddell was dropping bombs on Malarkey, and as tough as Malarkey was, he was just kind of out there on fumes. And I think they probably could have stopped the fight. Like, he was just kind of out there just... he was alive, but I don't think he was alive. Like, he was just getting hit. And he was bloodied, and his cauliflower ear was literally about to just burst open. Like, it was swollen to the max. It looked really nasty. They probably could have stopped the fight in the third. But they went on to finish. And my favorite moment of this fight that just symbolizes little things I love about combat sports. The very last, 2 seconds of the fight where both dudes are just extra tired, falling all over each other. They're both on the ground, on their knees, and you think they're just about to stare at each other because the fight's about to be over. And Riddell just throws this right hook while they're both on their knees and just punches them one last time. And Malarkey just kind of eats it. Like, he just kind of sits there like, yeah, whatever. That made me laugh. That was a really subtle, funny moment. But cause he didn't need to throw that punch. Like, he really didn't need to. And he's like, I'm gonna get you with this one last one. But no, that was awesome. But good performance on Brad Riddell. Way to make a debut. That's the kind of fight that people will be looking forward to your next one. They'll want to see you throw leather like that again. So congrats to Brad Riddell. Also a part of good night for City Kickboxing, man. He's a part of that team with Adesanya and Hooker. So they all really put on tonight. They all put on for this pay-per-view. But shout out to Jamie Malarkey, man. Dude is just, that's some next level toughness. He probably should have died 3 times and was just zombied his way through the fight. But congrats to Brad Riddell. Got the win via unanimous decision. Moving on to women's featherweight, Megan Anderson versus Zara Farn dos Santos. Did you get a chance to see this one?
Yes. This.
What were your thoughts on this?
Zara Farn. But I'm not gonna pretend I watched every single one of her fights, but good God, that was worse than anything I've seen from her before. And it's not that she lost in 4 minutes and got submitted by Megan Anderson, who's been out wrestled by basically everybody she's ever fought. It's that there were positions she was in where it felt like she didn't know what she was doing. Megan Anderson got to her back in the first along the cage, and she, instead of reaching back to grab a whizzer, she just grabs the top of Megan Anderson's head and tries to
start throwing punches.
Right. You didn't try to fight the hands. Didn't try to build a just started grabbed the head and started doing the whole bully throwing punches routine. It's really bizarre. Same thing when they got on the ground where she just kind of gave her the choke. But props to Megan Anderson, she got a win finally in the UFC. Not a whole bunch to talk about beyond that. I don't know where they're going with this division if they don't bring in more women. and it's been a minute since I've heard about them signing anybody. I don't know. Like, is Pam Sorensen going to be in the UFC soon? Or is what's her name? Like, are they bringing in Leslie Smith? Well, no, Leslie Smith. It's in Bellator, but I confused her with Caitlin Young. My bad. Like, are they gonna bring in Caitlin Young? Are they gonna bring? Like, I guess there's Leah Letson, but like most of these other women are tied up in Bellator right now, and Bam Malecki is in like one of the few women they signed for this division. I think she fought at like bantamweight, didn't she? Yeah, she fought at bantamweight in her debut, so like even she didn't want to stick around at 145. So I'm curious as to what they're gonna do moving forward.
Yeah, that division is
lacking.
Question mark. Question mark asterisk unknown. Like yeah, a lot. Yeah.
I mean, if they ever want to get it right, just tell them to call me, and I'll work for money.
Listen, man, we've been giving them free game for as long as we've been doing this.
I swear to God, when fucking Joe Silva was around, he was reading my blog. I know this for a fact.
Hey man, pay up for these services that you guys have been stealing.
Exactly.
So you're ghostwriting cards.
Oh God.
Ghostwriting cards. Well, congrats to Megan Anderson. I was happy she did get a win. Yeah. I don't really have much else to add, but no, I'm happy she did get a win and in front of her home crowd. So shout out to Megan Anderson with the triangle choke in round 1. And then the UFC Fight Pass prelims, we had Ji Young Kim versus Nadia Kassem. Karma is a real thing, people. Don't try to go for the hand touch in the beginning, and then try to cheap shot your way into an attack. Because Nadia tried that and got she almost lost the whole fight off that one sequence. Tried to do the hand touch. Then immediately, like, I think she went for like a leg, like, I forgot what she did.
Hand touch, and then she tried to throw a kick, and then she immediately got knocked the fuck down.
Right. caught a nasty counter. Almost got face planted out here. I don't have a lot in terms of technical breakdown of this fight to say, other than I did really enjoy the finish. I love body work. And those body shots that Young Kim ended the fight with were nasty. So congrats to her. That was a really good. She really was on one that second round. So good, really good finish for her, even though she did miss weight. But I just remember just looking at Nadia like, like. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Like, there's something there, but like, I don't know. I just didn't. I don't like saying this, but I didn't think she was good. Like, there were moments where she would go for the like that spinning back fist, and she was like 8 feet out. And it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Right.
Like,
also,
what
that
is...
ref who fucking stopped the fight so that he could give the mouthpiece back while Kim's like in the middle of a combination. Like, what the hell?
Bro, she was in the middle of a 3-piece. Like, that fight was probably about to be over. Like, she was lighting Nadia up, and you worried about a mouthpiece. You didn't even wait for a good time. Like, literally in the middle of the 3-piece. Yeah, that was terrible. That was terrible. But yeah, I just remember looking at Nadia fight like, dude, I don't think you're like a UFC caliber. Like, man, you gotta go back to the.
She should be an Invicta.
Yeah. You need an Invicta or like an LFA. Like you can't. You're not ready for
like
shit.
Like it's where like I think she's got like a great frame for MMA. Like she's tall as shit for like when she was fighting at strawweight. I don't know if she's still at strawweight. Was this fight at strawweight or was that flyweight?
No, it's
Yeah,
flyweight.
like
But would have been flyweight.
yeah, like she missed weight in her UFC debut against Alex Chambers, by like 5 pounds. So they moved her up to flyweight. Like I think she'd be like none of her opponents pre UFC had wins on the record, like at all. Like they were like 0-10. Yeah, like I think she just got signed because she was local and they needed an opponent for Alex Chambers. But like her team is like really bad. Like Australian top team is not a good gym. Not to put all of it on them, but like if you're a super inexperienced fighter and like you have like no experience against good or even like mediocre opponents and you're in the UFC, like you at least want your gym to be like good. You know what I mean? So you're getting like top flight training. But yeah, no, she was not ready for this fight, like at all.
But props to young Kim. Lots of hands.
Dude, like one thing they mentioned on the broadcast was that Kim was like really calm and stuff, and it's just like, dude, she's like Korean. Like if you think Japan baptizes their like fighters by like fire, Korea's fucking wild. Like like when Kim was 0-0, her first pro MMA fight was against Shizuka Sugiyama, who was 10-3, and if I'm remembering right, had fought for like the Jules title. Or was she the champion? I don't even remember. Like, point being, like, this is not somebody you want to be fighting in their debut. Like, hold on. Where is her name? Kim. Yeah, like someone who has like 13 professional fights to your 0. Not what you want. And her second fight wasn't any better because she fought Takayo Hashi, who is also a veteran of the scene and like a former champion. Like, I don't get it. Like in her previous fight before that one, she fought Roxanne Modafferi. Hashi, and she also fought Bob Honchak for the flyweight title, Invicta. Like, it didn't get like she eventually like in her 7th fight she fought Jin Tang and beat her, thankfully. But Jin Tang is like a Chinese journeywoman who has like 40 fights on her resume. It's like 21-8-2 or something. And we don't really know what the rest of her resume is because like she just fights like every couple weeks in like random promotions over China. So finding like her actual records like really hard. But like she's super calm under duress is my point. Like that's one of the things you're gonna get with these like Korean fighters. Like they all have similar backstories of like, oh yeah, no, I fought a dude with like 30 pro fights in my second pro fight.
She had that gay guard face. She was landing 3 pieces, but the look on her face was like, probably something better I could be doing right now. But hey, man,
Hey,
nah, she put hands.
it's
on
important to get these finishes when they show up when you're in the women's divisions because they don't show up that often. And like she gave what's her face Antonina Shevchenko like a tough ass fight. She'll build a name for herself yet.
Keep that body work up. Keep them 3 pieces going. Hopefully the next referee doesn't interrupt what you got going on. But she got the finish nonetheless. So Ji Young Kim won via TKO 2nd round. And the last fight on the card, Kali Taha versus Bruno Silva. I watched this fight and I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember what happened. It was the very, very first fight on the card. I don't know. Do you remember this one?
The Silva fight.
Yeah.
I remember Silva kicking Taha twice in the nuts.
Yeah,
in
that
the
was
first
the thing.
3 minutes of the fight, and then I was like, yeah, that's definitely a dude who trains with Henry Cejudo.
Yeah, that was the thing that
But
happened.
I remember him getting beat up on the feet before just getting big brothers on the ground and submitted in the third or something.
Yeah, got arm triangle chokes in the third. Yeah, I remember Kyler looked really solid. I just don't remember it was a good fight. I just don't remember it in detail because it was the very, very first fight on the card. I didn't get a chance to rewatch that one.
What I remember thinking is Taha reminds me a bunch of these big, strong, fast switch, big muscle guys, and that he throws a lot of big punches without setup, and that worked for someone like Bruno Silva, who's obviously not very comfortable striking. There was a lot of circling on the outside that went nowhere. That was basically just, I don't want to exchange with you right now. I have to, I'm not comfortable doing that. And it works against the Silvas of the division. And when you land, because you're a big, strong, fast dude, but I'm kind of curious what happens when people make a miss.
Yeah, could be but like we said, everything goes back to Whittaker Adesanya. There's certain people you can get away with that.
Yeah, what?
Until you run into the wrong guy.
It reminds me a little bit of Ilir Latifi. All those guys remind me of Ilir Latifi. To be honest with you.
Why did Volkan beat him up so bad?
Volkan Uzumir is actually a good boxer.
Why did Volkan punch that man's face off?
He beat him up to heavyweight.
God. That was... Yikes. But that was UFC 243. It was a pretty solid night. On paper, outside of the main event and the co-main event and literally a handful of other fights, I was really just kind of on this card. Just considering it was a pay-per-view. Had this been a fight night, I think I'd have been cool with it. But for a pay-per-view, I expected a little bit more on paper. But in terms of just what actually happened, it was a pretty solid card. Not the best card.
It was a 2-fight card. The UFC sold out the entire venue off the strength of Adesanya Whittaker, and it was fuck it.
Right, we just throw these other guys on there. But I mean, with that being said, we got some good performances. Her guy Quinta was awesome. Jorgen De Castro has a kill shot. The crowd probably didn't appreciate Spivak and Tuivasa, but it happened. Brad Riddell gave one of the most violent fights. According to Wiki, he got fighted. That did get fighted tonight, so congrats to both of them. 50 G's richer. But there was some solid moments on the card. It wasn't it was I'm trying to think of a rating.
It was
B-.
It passed.
It passed. That's fair. It passed. Adesanya, Whittaker, and Hooker Kenta took it over the hill. But yeah, it was a passing card. It was cool. So at least go back and watch the main card. Maybe probably skip the Lima Jamo fight. In place of Lima Jamo, watch the Brad Riddell and Jamie Malarkey fight, and I think you'll have a good time. You'll have a good time. So that was UFC 243. Pretty solid weekend of fights between 43, Golovkin and his fight and the Bellator card. It was a pretty solid night. So if you got the zone, you can go back and watch Bellator. And,
it's also on the Bellator website and app.
There you go. Yep. So you got options if you don't have the zone. So you can go back and watch it there, and alternative methods, however you want to watch this UFC card. Do what you got to do. I'll look the other way. But solid weekend of fights. Some pretty good happening. So that's all we got in terms of the fights for this weekend. Coming up next week, I think we got a decent amount of scraps going on. On the UFC front, we'll have UFC Tampa going down, headlined by Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Michelle Waterson. It's a good card, but it's very weirdly sequenced.
All
So we got
all the
Joanna.
best fights
Okay.
from the early prelims.
Yes. So if you want to get the bulk of this card, you got to be here early. You got to catch the prelims because that's where all the smoke is finna happen. But you got Joanna Jędrzejczyk obviously against Michelle Waterson. Cub Swanson, who's apparently getting kicked out of Gracie gyms because he's fighting Kron Gracie. I just saw that headline the other day. That's the thing. But Cub Swanson versus Kron Gracie, co-main event. Mackenzie Dern's on the card against Amanda Ribas. Got Luis Pena versus Matt Favola. Eric Anders versus Gerald Mearshart. James Vick versus Nico Price. And this is the part where most of the good fights I'm listing are on the prelims. Max Griffin versus Alex Morono. Davison Figueroa versus Tim Elliott. JJ Aldridge versus Lauren Mueller. Chito Vera versus Andre. How is that on a... What is going on with this card? Marlon Vera versus Andre Ewell is on like a prelim. Like
It's the first fight on the card apparently.
Bruh, that is crazy. That does not make any sense. So, like we said, this card, it's a good card, guys, but get here early. The main card will probably not be anywhere near as good as the prelims are, at least on paper. So that's going down on the 12th. We'll have some Bellator action also on the 12th. This is Bellator 230. I ain't gonna lie, I'm just looking at this card for the first time, so I don't even know what I'm getting into. But apparently the main event is Melvin Manhoef versus Yannick Bahati. Also have Rafael Carvalho versus Vadim Nemkov. Lord, Alessio Sakara's on this card. You know what? After that, it kind of... You know what, guys? I mean, you can watch it. I'm not. Watch at your own discretion. I don't know what to tell you. But you do have Bellator next week. And shout out to PFL. PFL is back next week on October the 11th. We'll have Kayla Harrison versus Jenna Fabian. Sarah Kaufman versus Larissa Pacheco. John Howard versus David Mashad. Magomed Karamal versus Chris Curtis. Sabadu C versus Ray Cooper III. Glacio Franco versus Andre Fajardo. And shout out to Bregman Lugney. I probably said that wrong. The gentleman who should have got signed to the UFC, but Dana frowns on takedowns in the last 3 minutes. He's making his PFA debut against Matt Waggy? I don't know how to say that. Waggy, however that's pronounced. But yeah, so that's actually a really good PFL card. Like that's a pretty solid lineup. So there'll be a lot going on next week. Any boxing going on? Oh yeah, we mentioned it earlier.
Tyrone Spong versus Alexander Usyk, heavyweight fight, which is hilarious because Spong is he was a cruiserweight as a freaking... I mean, he fought heavyweight kickboxing, but his career was basically cruiserweight. So Usyk probably could have got a better opponent to get him used to heavyweight punching, but whatever. It's all good. That should be fun. On that same card, Jessica McCaskill will fight Erica Farias. Mariana Juarez is fighting next weekend, and Dimitri Bivol will be fighting next weekend. So there's stuff. There's always stuff.
Always. Oh
wait, is there a? No, that's not. Okay, never mind. I thought it was like a gory card. I just remember they haven't announced gory. So, they did. Oh, okay. Oh, it's the weekend after. Never mind. For 2 weeks, end of the month, whatever.
Alrighty. Well, actually, you know what? I'll say this before we get into parting shots and shout-outs. Just to let the listeners know, I will be taking a little break because I have a vacation from work coming up on the week of the Weidman Reyes fight. Actually, my vacation starts the day after that fight. My plans as of now, and this is subject to change, but I want to enjoy my break. But I do like the Weidman Reyes card on paper. So, and I really like that main event. I'm really interested to see how that turns out, and I kind of want to cover it. And I like a lot of some other fights on that card. Tanner Bosser, I see him now. But between the week of the 18th going into November, one of these cards, maybe even two, I don't know, I have to just see how I feel. I want to enjoy my break, so after next week, there's a potential after the 12th that we may not have an episode either for the next week or the next two. Either Weidman or Reyes or Askin and Maya. One of those cards, or maybe both, may get skipped. I'm not sure, because I'm going to be on vacation, and I have a lot of stuff I plan on working on, so you might not hear from us possibly for that 2 weeks, but I'm definitely will be back on for UFC 244 Masvidal versus Diaz. I can't not talk about that card, even though I'll still be on vacation. I'm watching that. I'm probably spending money on that. So we'll definitely be back for that one if nothing else.
So,
but there may.
Sorry, there is a gory card next week.
Who's that?
It will be. Hold up. It was a lightweight title fight. Gregorian versus Bestati, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Dusseldorf.
Might be why I've seen a couple Gregorian highlights popping up on Glory's page. But yeah, just be aware between the days of the 18th going into November, if you don't get an episode from us, it's because I'm on vacation chilling. Pretty much that'll be the reason. But if nothing else, if you don't hear from us for those 2 weeks, we will definitely be back for UFC 244, Masvidal versus Diaz. That will be a must cover event. But that's all we got for today. So guess we can go ahead and move into parting shots and shout outs, which I don't know if shout outs to Snoop Dogg going to the University of Kansas at the basketball game, bringing strippers to his halftime performance, and the college, I guess, acting like they didn't know what was going on and then had to issue an apology afterward.
Yeah.
That was the thing that happened. Shout out to Snoop. They knew what was going on. Somebody had to clear off on that, and I think like when it was actually happening, they were like, "Oh man, we can't do this." But it was too late. Snoop was already there. The stripper pole was already there. The stripper was there. The show must go on. Shout out to Snoop Dogg. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I don't really have much.
Yeah. I don't think I have shout outs. I don't think I have shots. Shout out to I don't know, the people who put aglets on shoes. There we go. The aglets on the shoes, the little tips of the shoelaces. Shouts to them.
Oh. There you go. Your services are much appreciated.
Exactly. Yeah, shouts to I don't know. No, it's just the one. It's just the one this week. Nobody else has been good. Everybody else sucks.
Oh. There you go. You all need to do better.
Yeah, do better. You fucks.
Do better. We told you last episode we're like your disgruntled uncles. We're
never happy with you.
Yeah, never happy with you.
Nothing you do will ever be good enough. Either do better or stop trying.
There you go. Step your game up, sir or ma'am, whoever you are. You step it up out there. Do better in life.
Be sure to stick around for our interview with Israel Adesanya, please.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
It's right after.
It's right after we close.
It's there. I promise.
Yeah. Some poor kid is gonna scroll like forward to the end, and he's just gonna hear like the episode fade out. What the hell, Mom?
And then we get sued.
It is what it is. I'll find a lawyer. But that's all we got for today's episode, man. So as always, you can give this podcast a listen. SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page as well as the Instagram page. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Serial Sensei. Where can they follow you on Twitter? Also?
You can follow me at GC Zeus, which is a terrible handle, but it's mine.
You can't do nothing about it. Follow TheAnticool on Twitter. And buy my book, The Oddball Chronicles, 99 cents, digital, $8.99, physical copy. That's all we got for today's episode. So as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.